You're explaining what it's like in your head, and I'm explaining what it's like in my head. And
How
your
would that make
fantasy and my
sense?
fantasy. I just think that they're next to each other, okay? So you
think that they're lined up?
Yes.
No.
But in separate sacks.
His legs would have to be further apart. It would make more sense if they're stacked. I could draw it for you if that
No, I
would
got
help.
it. I got it.
They're stacked.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Volume 1. Today we are tackling JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8, JoJolion. Which means that today my name is Josh 4 Balls Michaels. And today I am joined by...
Took mine.
I kind of had a feeling. It was low-hanging fruit, if you know what I mean. Low-hanging balls, if you know what I mean.
Mehgan Cuatro Huevos Perrine.
Okay, all right.
We're bilingual.
Like I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about the first chunk of chapters for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 8. That's chapters 1 through 38. We're going to be breaking this part into 3 videos. Today, these are our general thoughts on the first chunk of chapters, how we feel about the story, how it sets itself up, the characters that we're introduced to. And off the bat, I have to say that the start to this really won me over. I really enjoyed it, especially coming right off of Steel Ball Run. And also discovering that there's some connective tissue there as well. Like that was the moment that really hooked me. I was hooked from the jump, but when I discovered the connection, I was extra hooked. You know what I mean? But what about you, Mehgan? How did you feel reading this? Because we talked a little bit before, you really liked the way that this part started out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed when we were in Morio before in that JoJo part. Diamond is Unbreakable, of course. It was so much fun to come back, and my favorite villain from JoJo, which is like, I don't know if it's controversial, but it's not Dio. It's not Poochie.
Yikes.
It's Kira. Kira's so cool. So I was so happy to see those ties between Morio and Kira in this part. And also, I mean, this is like one of the best beginnings of a JoJo part for me. I was, like you said, hooked from the moment I started reading. And there are a couple different reasons going forward, like when it comes to the stands, that I like am really excited about. And I prefer over some of the other JoJo parts. And we always say it, like how different each part is, but part 8 feels really different.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like, especially when it comes to the stand battles, it's the most different, I think, when it comes to stand battles that I've seen in JoJo thus far, which is very exciting because I'm not the biggest, what's the word?
You're not
fighty girl.
Yeah, that's the term. That's the official term, fighty girl. No, you're not the biggest fan of like battles that are determined by strength.
There is
and power alone.
Yes, and there is a place and there's a time for that. I mean, it's been throughout JoJo. It's been a mix, right? We've seen strategic battles. We've seen power battles. We've seen brute strength. We've seen so many different types of stands and abilities. But in this part specifically, it is, I don't know. It is so, what's the word I'm looking for?
The battles feel more like strategic
and
sure.
kind of like placed in reality, if that's something I could say about JoJo at all.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
That's such a good point, because if stands were real, and maybe they are, maybe they are, then it's not like people, and maybe people would, but people aren't having battles in the middle of the street, in the middle of town. They're having to secretly use their stands to their advantage in whatever situation they're in to help them win in that situation.
Like magic. It's like a magic. Like you have a magic ability. I feel like these people have a magic ability that they can use to their advantage. Something like low key,
right.
Something that might not be seen to the naked eye. Maybe they don't even know that they're using it. Maybe it's just a thing that like, oh, I'm just lucky. It is that type of like weird just like ability that they have, which stands are, but it's not like I have a stand that's gonna beat your ass and it's gonna ora all over your face.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that though. Josuke, what's poppin', Poppy? The bubbles ain't the only thing that's popping. You know what I'm saying?
But yes, all that to say, I really, really am enjoying the first half a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, same. Everything that you said, the stand battles. I feel like reintroducing so many characters in a town that we are very familiar with. Steel Ball Run kind of took it way back in this new universe to, I guess, what would be comparable to like part one, right? The origin of the Joestars and their lineage, their story. But it took place in a different setting. This is a setting, Morio, that we've been to before, we've seen before, just not in this universe. So we're meeting characters again, and because of what we know of those characters from previous parts or these previous versions of these characters, our expectations are constantly being like subverted, and that knowledge is kind of being used against us, but in a very fun way. So when we are like introduced to Yoshikage Kira, and the setup to that is like finding all of these nail clippings, and you see the Mona Lisa, and you see the hand, you see all of these things that tie him back to the Kira that we know from part 4. But it uses that to its advantage to sort of trick you, to subvert your expectations, to fool you, because he doesn't, first of all, really look like the Kira that we know. And he might not, this is I feel like if there's any part to theorize about and speculate on, because we've learned that lesson the hard way in previous parts. As a matter of fact, in part 4, we were like, oh, there's this mysterious figure in the snow that was pushing Josuke in his mom's car, like he's Josuke from the future, like what's going on? And then it wasn't really ever like addressed. So to me, I kind of stopped like consuming the story that way. But this is a mystery, okay? So if we're going to speculate, this is the part to speculate in. My point is, I think that this Kira is not that bad. I think that he actually might be...
He's just a freak?
The only thing...
He was just like a little freak? Like a little freak?
Yeah, he might be a little freak. He might be a little freaky. He might be consensually getting freaky.
Taking Polaroid pictures. I mean, those pictures are pretty damning. Pretty damning evidence.
That's the only thing that is kind of damning. And I wanted to go back before we recorded today and look at exactly what those pictures were of, if they ever like showed them. I think they did.
They did.
And it was people tied up.
Yeah, people tied up.
But it wasn't like, no one was like, like mutilated or anything. So maybe it was a kink. Maybe it was consensual. Maybe those were bad people. I don't know. But that's what I love about it. It's taking familiar characters in a familiar setting and constantly sort of like flipping it on its head. With all of these ties to part 4, these nods to part 4. There's a part when this version's Josuke is running down the street and steps on a chalk drawing of Crazy Diamond, the OG Crazy Diamond. But this Josuke has like Soft and Wet, which is a combination of stands. I mean, just the way the mystery unfolds, the characters, everything about this part, and of course the mystery at its core is so fun. And it I don't know, man. It leaves me like I can't stop speculating. I can't stop theorizing about like what is actually going on. And I have some crazy, crazy theories that probably won't pan out, but that's the fun of only reading a certain amount of chapters at a time, is that we get to kind of speculate on that. And then we get to either look like fools or maybe we'll be right for once.
Maybe for once.
for once
on this goddamn show. Yeah, I'm having a blast. I loved the like Brady Bunch feel of the story. Like, oh, you're gonna be taken in by this family. I just think they're so funny. All of them are like, all the kids are brats, but in a different way, but in like the best way. Yeah, and towards the end when we get to meet one of the like eldest sons of the family, Jobin, that was wild. All of them are just so quirky and weird in their own way, and it's very, very fun.
Yeah, I actually brought my physical copy of Dust Spoke Rohan Kishibe Volume 2 because I tried to look online on the Viz website, and the chapter that I'm going to talk briefly about is on there, but the little addition, the little excerpt, the little sort of commentary from Araki is not on the website. It's only in the book. So I read this a while ago, and I mean, I just wanted more JoJo, and we wait to read the part so that we could talk about it. So I just like needed something, and this was perfect, right? So I started reading it. I got to volume 2, and there's a story. It's, I think, the first story of the second volume. It's called The Harvest Moon. And it is also about a family. So I'm just going to read this little portion, this little paragraph here from Araki, because I think it informs the Higashikata family that we meet in this part a little bit more. And it's super interesting. So Araki says, as the times change, so does manga. And when Shonen Jump launched an exclusively digital magazine, this short story was given the honor of being published within. The Mochizuki family, which observes a long-held tradition of celebrating a moon viewing parties together, is reminiscent of the Higashikata family in JoJolion. I drafted this story analog, and now this volume, this volume is the first time it has been printed on physical paper. It's like the opposites have come together. But whatever else changes, the moon in the sky will always remain the same. So I don't know what came first, this family or the Higashikata family. But this story, Harvest Moon, is about a family that gets together because of a curse that their lineage has. Their descendants always die on a harvest moon. And this is something that's been going on for generations and generations. So they all get together on the harvest moon, and they don't allow their families to leave. And just there's members of the family that are, have that same familial dynamic that the Higashikata family have. And then, of course, with the curse and everything, the Higashikitas have their curse, and this family has their curse as well. So it is just really interesting to see Araki playing with this concept and executing it differently. And obviously I love JoJolion's family, the Higashikata family, more. I mean, I get to spend more time with them. I mean, it's come on. But I just think that's super, super interesting. So reading this short story and reading that little excerpt from Araki made me even more excited to get to this part, and it did not disappoint. I can't make a comparison right now as to which I like more, Steel Ball Run or JoJolion, because we're just so early into JoJolion. So I got to say Steel Ball Run still a little bit up there, a little above for me, but I'm open to that order switching. JoJolion taking out Steel Ball Run.
Yeah, I mean Steel Ball Run has Johnny and Gyro, so it's going to be kind of hard to beat.
That's true.
That duo.
That's true.
As much as I do love Yasuho.
Yasuho.
That's disrespectful.
Yasuho, Yasuho. She's a sweet girl.
I do like her. Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, this part has Johnny Joestar too. I did not expect that, and I don't know why. I just
now
thought
the timelines are.
Yeah. We are in this new universe, and I wonder if
it wasn't going to be again a new start.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Which I kind of thought, maybe Araki was just going to tell different stories from different universes within this multiverse that existed, but he's sticking to one universe, and it makes me wonder if the most recent part 9, right? I would think then that this has to take place in that universe as well, especially because he loves to do everything in trilogies.
That'd be crazy if he's I'm starting again.
Yeah, because then it's just so crazy to me. Because then you would have to put this feels obviously so. Steel Ball Run is parts 1, 2, 3, maybe kind of combined.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely obviously part 4. So then that would mean that part 9 would kind of have to be a marriage of part 5 with Giorno, Golden Wind, and Stone Ocean, right? With Jolene. So
from what I've heard, that makes sense.
Yeah.
From what I've heard
too.
Yeah.
But yeah. The Higashikata family, the dynamic, all of it, the mysteries, the stamp battles.
So do you like them? Because I remember I had read more than you at a certain point, and you were like, yeah, I'm kind of whatever on the family. They're kind of sus. And do you feel differently about them as a whole now? Especially the dad. For me, the dad, towards the end of what we read, I was like, that's a little better. The sussiness, I guess.
Well, I
moved to a different character.
Right.
But yeah,
I liked the sussiness of it. I liked that they were something was off about them.
Well, in the beginning I did like that. Yeah, I liked the mystery because the mystery is what we're here
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. This is the mystery JoJo part, you know? So that was cool. But learning more about them and like the things that they've gone through and like continue to go through just because of the like curse or whatever, like it is interesting to see how that like dynamic moves forward. And I have a theory too.
Okay. I'm super excited for us to just like
but I
talk
don't
about
know.
our crazy theories.
I don't know if that would even work. Because it has to be like a family member, right?
What has to be a family member that has a
the
curse?
Sacrifice.
Oh, that it gets passed on to. I think it's equivalent exchange. And the reason I think that a family member always works is because that relationship is of equal value. Like that life to that person is of equal value, if that makes sense. So it couldn't be a stranger because maybe the life of a stranger isn't the same as like the life of a loved one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on the same like family dynamic.
Yeah.
Like
relationship.
relationship.
But I still want to hear it. I still want to hear your theory. It doesn't have to be right now.
Yeah. Because I just thought of it. I didn't have it planned.
But I think what you're talking about is when I had read a little bit of it in the beginning. It was when I had first met the dad, and everything seemed like really just like they seemed really like goofy and really like chummy in the car. And then I kind of stopped, took a little break, and that's when we had that conversation. So I wasn't like super looking forward, and I had already met. I have everybody's name written down here. Josu. I had already
Joshu?
Like,
it's literally Joshu.
It's
you're running away from who you are.
It's pronounced Joshu.
Joshu.
I don't think that that's how you pronounce it, and I would like people to correct Mehgan in the comments because
I think it's Joshu.
I don't think it is, and that would be fucking crazy if it was.
I like it,
and I would change my name if it was.
Really? To Joshu?
No, no, to Josuke.
It's disgusting. Let's continue.
I accidentally licked the mic right now and it tasted kind of
You'd always
funky.
do that. You literally have done it. I can't even count how many on my hands that you've done that.
Okay, well at least the tip of my mic isn't stained red, okay, from all the lipstick.
See, like, why do you
Sorry,
just
I got
take
defensive.
it? Yeah, I know.
I got defensive.
No one knew that.
Well, that's a little Easter egg. A little behind the scenes.
Disrespectful. It's not red, it's pink.
Same difference.
At least my microphone. Never mind.
Say it. Does it smell like? Does it smell like my nasty ass breath? Say it. That's exactly what you were gonna say. Because it does stink. I get real close to it sometimes, and it freaking reeks, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I don't always have the best breath when we sit down and record these. So thank God this ain't smell-o-vision.
Yeah. Thank God for you guys.
You're welcome. Because there's an option to turn it on.
I'm right here.
Yeah, it's like in the thick of it. And sometimes it is thick. Sometimes I can see it. I'm just kidding. It's really not that bad.
He's not joking.
It's a joke.
No, he's not.
It's a joke.
He's being 100% for real right now.
Anyway, I'll leave that up to whatever your headcanon is.
They know. You're Joshu.
Okay.
Stinky breath
right.
Joshu.
Don't. So everything seemed kind of chummy, and that was when they were in the car, and that's when I took the break, and I was like, I don't know if I want to I don't know if I'm excited about this like family dynamic, and everybody kind of takes him in, and I kind of knew he would probably have a little rivalry with Josu, but I didn't. I mean,
it's like not real.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was going to be with the whole family. I thought it was just going to be them.
Yeah.
So when he got there and they were all kind of sus and there was like symbols everywhere and there was like weird shit going on, I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Like, I fucking love this. So I made a real quick U-turn on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only nitpick I would have to give for me in this chunk of chapters, and it's not a really bad thing at all, and I do think that a lot of JoJo parts kind of follow this same formula, but to me, for whatever reason, because I was kind of behind on my reading, so I had to read most of all 38 chapters in one day. And them chapters was long. Boy, I think I started reading at, I don't even know, like 11 a.m. and didn't finish till like 12:30 a.m.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe I just noticed.
But that wasn't like nonstop. That wasn't nonstop.
No, I mean, I took breaks to like eat and brush my teeth and chew on some breath mints and
some gum.
Because I always have fresh breath. And that's like a thing that people know about me.
Gargle.
It took a break to gargle some
floss.
Stuff. And floss. Because I have, people know
Water
that about me. That's like
pig.
one of the first things people say about me.
Go, wow, your breath smells amazing.
Fresh breath. Like, oh, so Josh
What?
freshy breath over there?
I just felt icy on my face.
Yeah, people
Is
go,
that you?
ooh,
It's like icy hot.
it's cold.
Yeah, it's like I feel it.
Right,
Like, how is that
right,
even possible?
right,
Like, how
right.
do I feel your breath on
Yeah.
me? Like, how does it feel that like icy hot sensation?
Honestly, I don't want to say this is like 100% true or not, but I've always felt like that's where they got the idea for the lube, was from
Excuse me.
the icy hot lube, the one that's icy and the one that's hot. Then when you combine them, it's like, you know what I mean?
The K and Y.
The KY. It's not KNY, it's just KY. Yeah. Okay, why do I know that? Because I got 4 balls. I need it.
Oh shit.
But
we have a lot to get through.
We're gonna get through it right now. I just want to say the only nitpick was the
lot.
formula. I felt
we
like
have a lot.
Okay. I just noticed the formula more. It was like mystery, and when we did get information, it was a lot of information, and I was kind of like, I was shocked because there's so much we still have to read. So when we were getting what we were getting, I was like, damn, we're really getting a lot. But then it was like a valve. That fucking mystery valve would just shut completely off, and then we'd just be immersed in like a 5-chapter stand battle. And again, the chapters were long. And then as soon as that battle would be over, it'd be like the mystery valve the water would be flowing again, and we'd be getting all this information. And then it wasn't like what I guess I kind of like was hoping for at a certain point was that some of these mysteries would be revealed through the stand battles, or that information would be given to us through the stand battles. But it really felt like a valve that was shut off, or something that was put on pause while the stand battles like happened, and then would be unpaused immediately right afterward, which isn't like the worst thing in the world. And it's even better in this part because the stand battles are fun. I like them a lot for the reason that you said in the beginning. But yeah, and the last thing, and I think you have stuff you would like to say about this too, because you were the one who brought it to my attention. The humor in this part is there was humor in Steel Ball Run, and there like in the fan edits, and because some of the humor in Steel Ball Run like was hard to like get, like Gyro's whole like days of the week thing was just so absurd. But because of like fan edits and YouTube videos, like I've seen other clips and interpretations of it, and it's just so funny to me. But it wasn't like a main part of the story. There's a lot. It's not a main part of this story either, but there's so much more like humor, and like it's a little crass. But it's funny as hell, dude. Yeah. A lot of ball humor.
A lot of balls. It's very sexual.
It's very sexual.
It's very sexual. I would say one of the most sexual parts of JoJo.
I mean, that's why it's got some extra points for me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you're feeling it too. You're feeling it too. I get it.
Oh
I get
God,
choked up talking about it too. What's that stuck in your throat?
Jesus. Excuse me.
But we do have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do have a lot to get through.
And we're going to get through it super fast. So again, we're not going to, I just say this every time just in case, but we're not going to give like super detailed, a super detailed recounting of every single moment. We're just going to focus on the moments that we enjoyed a lot, or that we have like theories about, or things that are like really significant to the overall plot. So without further ado, let's just jump into talking about these chapters. Right, Mehgan?
Yeah. I didn't know you were waiting for my response.
What about you guys? What about you? Are you ready to jump into these
what
chapters?
What are you doing?
I'm talking to the audience at home.
I think you mean the live audience.
And I'm talking to them too. Yeah. Only applaud when the applaud sign turns on. Sorry, that was somebody in the back. So where we start, where our story begins, is in the familiar town of Morio.
I know. When it started, I was like, what the heck? I was like, what the fuck is we welcome Morio? What the heck? What the heck? Mori radio.
Yeah. And it's a little different. It's not the town that we know.
No, yeah, there's like some weird shit in the what's it called? The ground. The what is it? What is the word? the mountain.
Okay, there's.
Do you know what I'm talking? The
by the coast, there was
by
an
the
earthquake that
coast.
caused these like walls to rise that people call the wall eyes, and they look freaking weird.
Yeah, they look gross.
Sometimes in some of the panels in the background, they look like they got little smiley faces and little sad faces in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So I don't quite. If I had to make a guess as to what the wall, I don't know what caused them, but they happened, I think, on March 11th. I don't know how many years ago that was, but it happened like semi-recently as to the story beginning. And I don't know exactly what they are, but if I had to make a guess, it would probably have something to do with the devil's palm. I would think.
It looked it looked similar to that.
Right. Especially since, as we find out later on, that because of these wall eyes, people, especially the Higashikata family who live right by them, their stands have been awakened because of these walls. So, I mean, it has to be the devil's palm. I just don't know what caused it to show up there. And the devil's palm, as we knew it in Steel Ball Run, like constantly moved. And this seems like whatever happened has caused this phenomenon to like be a permanent fixture of this town. So I don't know, but that's something we haven't really found out yet. What we do see in the beginning, we meet our girl, Yasuho, who is very cute, very sweet, and she's getting harassed.
Yeah.
She's getting harassed by Josu, not Joshu.
Joshu, yeah.
She's hiding in the bushes. She's trying to
lose him.
She's trying to evade this man.
Yeah. Like, I'm not your girlfriend. I don't know, like, where you're getting that. Do not want to talk to you. Do not want to be affiliated with you. Please leave me alone. Restraining order.
Right. It is weird, though, because their relationship seems like it changed because they were childhood friends for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, once you, like, you're friends until
puberty.
And then you're not.
Stand awakens.
Until the stand awakens. And it stands up. And you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore with you.
Right.
The dynamic has changed.
And immediately we're getting this person introduced to us as Josu Higashikata. So I'm already like, this is how good this part is at subverting those expectations right out of the gate. Like right out of the gate. Because I was like, Higashikata.
And I was like, that's him?
Yeah. And I was like, if it's
that's
not him.
The guy?
He's related to this guy? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
As Yasuho is hiding, she discovers a man buried underground.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a man who is unconscious at the time, and she takes a peek at his junk.
Yeah, he's completely nude.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is where I was like, what the heck is happening? She's like on the side because she pulled him out or whatever, and they're kind of like laying, like just like on the side of the grass or whatever. And then she like looks down at it, and then she like kind of like gets a little more comfortable. I was like, damn, girl, what the hell?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
She's taking a peek. Josu's stand is not the only stand that has awakened, if you know what I mean.
He's asleep. Yeah.
Right. Sorry about that.
Awake.
That was inappropriate. Yeah. Anyway, what she is shocked by, though, and why she is looking is because he has not one, which would also be weird.
Yeah.
Not two, but four.
4 balls.
Testicles.
Yeah.
Balls.
I wonder if they're like different colors.
I don't think they would be different colors.
No, like different colors of flesh.
Potentially.
Like one set is lighter than the other set.
One set's a little darker than the other. Right. And we're going to see that panel later of the ball split down the middle. And I wonder if it's like every other ball or if it's like he's got a sack of 2 on one side and another sack of 2 on the other side.
I thought it was like a stacked situation.
Oh, you think they're like stacked on top of each other?
Yeah, like one set.
Like the little, like you
I
don't know what those villains are called from the Mario games. You know, the ones that are in the desert that are like stacked on top of each other. Not like that.
No. I mean like one right here, one right here. And then like you could like put your hand
like a sack stack
in between both. There's like a little like gap.
Oh, you can put your hand between the stacked sack.
Yeah, so like one's on the bottom and then one's on the top, resting.
Interesting.
Just to give you guys like what I was thinking when I first heard about the 4 ball situation, I was like, because it wouldn't be like a cross, you know?
I just think
I think it would be like.
It's like when two trucks with balls on the back of them park next to each other. I think it's kind of like that. You know
That's not what it's like at all. I'm literally explaining what it's like, and
you're explaining what it's like in your head, and I'm explaining what it's like in my head. In
How
your
would that make
fantasy and my
sense?
fantasy. I just think that they're next to each other, okay? So
you think that they're lined up?
Yes.
No.
But in separate sacks.
No.
You think it's one sack, 4 balls?
That wouldn't make any sense. His legs would have to be further apart. It would be too crunched together. It would make more sense if they're stacked.
Okay.
It's like, okay, here's
the member,
and then here's the balls, and then there's another like underneath. Well, I could draw it for you if that.
No, I
would
got
help.
it. I got it. I'm just asking everybody watching and listening right now to let us know what you think the ball situation is. Maybe it is revealed later. Maybe it's not. But if it's not, either way, let us know what you think the ball situation is, because that's very important.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about it.
No, I get it. It affects how you read the
just
story.
like, yeah, it'll change like the perspective of the character.
It'll change who Josuke is at his core.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to think about it. But I did see a short from the game, the JoJo game, and he does walk kind of with a wide stance. So that could mean maybe that it's a little harder for him to walk because they are lined up the way you suggested. But I mean, it would still be kind of hard if you had like four sets of balls.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors too. It depends on how big the balls are, how small the balls are.
What if they're both different sizes?
And I'm sure they are. Balls are like boobs, and one's always a little bit bigger than the other one. But when it comes to sets, it's not one size fits all. So it could be a little sack and a big sack.
And the little one would be on top.
Okay. You really want it to be on top and on bottom.
No, it wouldn't be. Okay, never mind. They're stacked. Okay, they're stacked.
Okay, you're team stacked and I'm team side by side.
Okay, let us know in the comments. Are you team stacked or team side by side?
I like how this is the most in-depth that we've got.
Because it needs to.
Right.
I needed to have this conversation because it just needs to be addressed up front at the top.
Yes.
And I think everyone appreciates
bottom,
that. If we were just gonna like breeze by that, like this is what we do. Like we have to
answer the hard questions.
We answer the hard questions. We bring up the topics people maybe don't want to bring up.
Other channels sort of stray away from these.
They would just say, "Oh, he has 4 balls," and then move on to the rest of the story.
And they go, "That's weird," and they move on.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Anyway, and they don't talk about stack. They don't talk about side by side.
No.
That's why we need to discuss it.
Exactly.
Because who else will?
I agree.
Who else will?
If we don't do it, who will? So, I'm glad, and I'm curious to know what you guys think.
Yeah, and that's the episode. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys so much. This part was great. Actually, this is all we're reading. These chapters are all we're reading. It was fantastic.
We read the 4 balls. We're like, what the heck? And we stopped reading it.
Yeah, it's above Steel Ball Run now just for that alone. And now we're on to part 9. No. So yeah, she notices that about him. And at first, this is odd. This is weird, but it's JoJo. So I don't know what the cause of this, what the reason of this is. So much so that when it is revealed later that he also has other things that are weird about him. Yeah. I never even put that together.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, it was like the build up again is like he had like a bite mark, and why? I don't know.
Right.
Like a human bite mark, like.
Yeah, it's curiouser and curiouser.
Why a honestly.
Bite? Yasuo got a bite too.
I know, but why?
I don't know.
Who bit them?
I don't know. And I have so many questions. Okay, so let's keep going. So she immediately starts interacting with this guy and finds out that he has no memories. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know where he's from. He doesn't know anything at all.
You could say.
What could you say?
He has a gap in his memories.
Oh, he does. A big one.
It's cute.
It's really cute. And I have to say, since we're on the topic of Gap, Gap, the clothing brand. No, he is, as far as like character designs go, I was always really curious as to why the protagonist of this part was dressed as like a sailor in a sailor outfit.
Yeah, I know.
And I thought this whole part took place at sea.
Yeah, same. No, literally same.
I really did.
Yeah.
But I love his character design so much. The gap in his teeth. Like, just, I love his
split
fit.
eyes.
Yes,
so cool.
The split tongue. You know what I mean? That's what we should be talking about. We're over here talking about freaking balls, dude. Balls don't do anything. Balls don't help me at all. I don't care if someone has 8 balls. It doesn't do anything.
That's a lot.
It doesn't do anything but get in the way. Even the 2 don't do anything but get in the way. But if you got a split tongue, shit. That does a lot. 2 tongues are better than 1. But 4 balls are not better than 2.
Mm.
If I could just go no ball, I think I would.
Yeah, so get him removed.
Yeah. Cut him out.
Be freeing.
Yeah. It would be free. But so she immediately wants to start helping this guy out, and she gets a good sense of or she feels like when she first meets this guy that he seems to be like an okay guy, although she still is aware that she doesn't know anything about him. She wants to help him get his memories back and figure out sort of what's going on. We also see Josu and who will be named Josuke sort of get into it a little bit.
Like a fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does some crazy shit.
Yeah, he's just coming on too strong.
Yeah.
Something happened and he, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, speeding up and kind of going through it, it gets to a point where they realize that they're going to work together and they're going to do some digging. So with really nothing to go off of, they decide to look into the hat, right? The hat is the only clue that they have.
Yeah, because it was made in town.
Right.
It was made in town.
So, and I think the hat shop is called SBR.
It is.
Which is the first Easter egg. And tell me why I didn't even I just thought that was a manga Easter egg, not an in-universe Easter egg, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I just thought, Araki's just nodding to Steel Ball Run, but Steel Ball Run didn't exist in this universe.
No, it does. Yeah,
No,
it definitely does. Yeah.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
So they go to this hat shop and they say, okay, yeah, I did make that hat. I did sell it to you a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes through his registry and he finds that the name of the person he sold it to was Yoshikage Kira. So first dun 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 moment is that this nameless individual is Yoshikage Kira. Now, I'm not falling for this shit because he has a Joestar birthmark. This is me at the time. And I'm thinking, it's got to be some sort of mix-up. It's got to be some sort of stolen identity situation or something.
Because he did switch kind of identities when in the previous universe.
Exactly. And just on that, too, I think that's why this part is so much fun. And you brought this up. But you were talking about how the mystery in part 4 was the characters were the ones who
didn't know.
Who were in the dark and didn't know.
Until a certain point, obviously. But that's what was so fun about. That's why I like Kira so much, because we got to spend a lot of time with him. I feel like if we were seeing simultaneously more of Dio in his planning, I guess, in part 3, if we were seeing them side by side, I don't know, maybe I would have liked him a little more. I don't know. But yeah, Kira, we got to see both of them. We got to see the good guy and then the bad guy, and in him, sweating a little bit. He doesn't want to get caught. He's having to go through all of these loopholes to get out of things, and it was really well done. That's what I liked most about part 4.
But this time the mystery is
part 4.
Yeah. The mystery is the audience is the one who doesn't have any information, and the characters don't have any. Some of them do, obviously, but in part 4, no, none of the characters did, but we knew what was going on. We knew what Kira's new identity was.
Yeah.
We knew who Kira was the whole, not the whole time, but at a certain point.
The mystery is how is he going to get caught?
What's going to happen? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think makes this so much fun, is because we also are in the dark as an audience, as to what's
you
going
said
on.
that the formula was kind of annoying to you. Annoying,
but it was just noticeable.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
sorry, jeez. I didn't mind it because there's always that formula in JoJo. It's always here's some story and then like a stand battle. Here's some story. I mean, part 3, towards the end, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
let's get to where we're going. Let's get to Dio. When
we got through the fucking tarot deck and there was more, I was like, oh my god. But some of them ended up being really cool.
Yeah, no, they always are, but it is just that formulaic thing of like cool stand battle and then some stuff, and then cool stand battle and then some stuff. But in this part, it isn't so much the
right.
Ora.
But. And again, not to compare it to Steel Ball Run, but the difference is in Steel Ball Run, through fights we were getting information. Like through the Wekapipo fight, we were getting information on Wekapipo and Gyro. Through so many fights, we were getting information.
But also in Steel Ball Run, we were getting simultaneously the other. We were seeing Valentine do shit.
Right.
That's what's kind of different with this part because like we're not really seeing. We're only focusing on him. We're not really necessarily... It's all from Josuke's perspective. Yeah. It's not like, okay, we're going to spend some time with Josuke and these characters and then bounce to the villain of the story or bounce to the dad doing some shade. It's not about... We don't get to see that at all. So we're like learning through him. There's no other cutaways but through him.
Right. But...
Oh, and I guess...
Yasuo,
yeah.
But...
Yasuo. I think it's Yasuo.
Yasuo. But Valentine, because I don't think we've met the villain of this part yet. And to the point of Valentine, we didn't, when we were this early on into Steel Ball Run, like we had met Valentine, but we didn't really see much of him. He was just this like shadowy figure in the back of a carriage. We didn't really start seeing him do shit until later on. And that's also interesting is I don't even think we've met the big bad yet. At all.
I don't even know. Maybe there isn't one.
Yeah.
Maybe
anyway.
It's just this mystery and then we figure out what's happening and it's like, oh, cool.
I don't know, man. I will say this in all, transparency and all honesty. I've seen images and thumbnails and stuff. When you look up one JoJo video, a bunch of other JoJo videos get recommended to you. So I haven't been spoiled at all on like who this character is, but I have seen a character that from context clues I gather is like an antagonist of some sort in this part, and he wears like a big hat, but with like a swirl on it or something. But I don't know anything about it.
I haven't seen anything.
Anyway, okay, so they find out Yoshikage Kira's the guy who bought the hat. So they pull up the records and they're able to somehow like get his address and go to his apartment. When they get to his apartment, they see
there's a naked woman in the bathtub.
Yeah, there's a naked woman in the bathtub. And this is when, how did you say her name? Yasuo. This is when she discovers like a photo album. This is when we see the Mona Lisa, the hand, the nails, everything that we know to be true of the Kira from part 4.
Yeah, I really like this part. I was like, whoa. Like, he doesn't remember who he is, and he's like a serial killer? Like, that's fucking wild.
I really thought, like, fuck, no way. Like, what is happening? Like, how is Araki gonna, like, write himself out of this? Like, are we following, like, a serial killer who lost his memories and he's a Joestar, or how is he a Joe? I mean, my head was spinning. So Yasuo obviously gets really upset and leaves because she said, she is kind of wild because she's like, I mean, his vibe, he just doesn't have the vibe of a serial killer. And I'm like, that's what makes a great serial killer, I guess, is that according to accounts from other people, a lot of people never saw some other serial killers. Never saw them coming. As a matter of fact, called them like super charming and.
Well, I mean, he has no memory of like who he was, so I don't think he would maybe act the same.
Exactly, and that too. So why is she like shocked? You don't know this man. You found him in the dirt.
Yeah, you found him in the dirt. He has 4 balls.
Yeah. Anyway, so she leaves. She's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." And the woman in the bathroom is like, it recognizes him and is asking him for help, and he's in some of the photos too.
Yeah, like posing like.
Yeah. And she's like, I need your help because there's somebody after me. Now, we assume that, or I assumed in the moment, that this is the actual Kira because something happens with marks on this person's stand ability, where if they mark you, all of your limbs, and they can take full control of your body.
Yes.
So this starts happening to her, or it's already happened to her, but it starts happening to him whenever you cut yourself, and the person has to be like directly above you. And this person is also shrouded in mystery, so I'm thinking this is the real Kira. This opening sequence, this fight was really cool.
Yeah, I had assumed that it was like he escaped from Kira's like clutches or something. Like he was there too with the lady, and they were both kind of trapped. Right. That's where I was under the like impression of like, oh, that's why Kira like knew he was gonna come back or something, and then started to plan. But it was not that at all. It turned definitely different really, really quickly.
Yeah. And so as it goes on, Josuke, who I don't know if he's been given the name Josuke yet, but will be very
not
shortly
officially
if he hasn't. He starts putting together what's happening. He's, I don't even think really super aware at this point, like of stands, but he is able to use his soft and wet. And we realize for the first time what soft and wet does, which is interesting. And I actually love a lot on top of like the design of all the stands, but soft and wet looks so fucking sick, which is that like through these soap bubbles, Josuke's stand can take something from something else. It could be sound, it could be smell, it could be like moisture, it could be a lot of things. He could just take them with a bubble. And so sound is the one he uses in this situation, where he takes the sound from like the wall and then breaks the wall so that it's silent. And that's how he's able to move without this person tracking him above him. Super cool. And again, with the stands here in this part, they're not overly complicated, which I appreciate. I think for me in part 6, they just got a little too complicated. It just got a little too wild for me. Anyway, they go through this whole sort of back and forth, and it is revealed at the end that this is not Kira. This is somebody who is trying to catch Kira. Someone who was trying to get revenge on Kira. And this is a person that was like a surfer or something.
Yeah.
And they met Kira because Kira does wear a sailor outfit. Oh, and I think... See,
he's like, I'm a surfer! He's like, that's not a job.
Kira, this is about the time we find out that Kira does look exactly like Josuke, because the surfer...
And he was a ship doctor.
Oh, he was a ship doctor.
Yeah.
And so he because he's kind of like sharing this memory of when he met Kira and how Kira told him that he wasn't like a real man or something to that effect. And this really got into this guy's head, so much so that he started like biting his fingernails.
I mean, we know now towards the end of this first part that like real people and people that aren't real people exist in this world.
Say that again.
Real people and like not real people that look like people but are not people, could be a fucking rock person.
That's another fucking crazy thing that we have to talk about.
So Kira could not be a person. I don't know, because that was not a stand ability. They were just not a fucking person. They were a rock person.
That's such a good point. And I didn't think of it till right now when you said it, because during the rock fight, which we'll get to, the big thing was like, this is just something he can do. He doesn't have 2 stand abilities. This is just like part of his biology.
Yeah, he's just a rock guy.
I'm like, okay.
And that's what
cool.
makes me think that like the alien in part 4 was real alien.
Oh, I've always thought he was a real alien.
Yeah, I love that guy.
He's so fun. But you're absolutely right now, Megan. I think you might be onto something with that. So that might have been whoever that person was. Maybe it was Kira. Maybe it wasn't.
Maybe Kira was just fucking with him.
But maybe he just has like this like power of suggestion, and maybe he could just do that. Because we see his Kira stand later, and Kira in this universe still had the stand Killer Queen, which had soap bubbles, but the soap bubbles contained explosions.
Which is,
So how would he have the power of suggestion? It wouldn't be his stand ability. It would just be maybe his innate ability. Okay. Okay, you're cooking. You're cooking. So, but it causes this guy to bite his fingernail to the point where it went down to the nub, and he was like biting his freaking fingers off.
Yeah. And he's like, I bit him off. And we're like, okay. Like, he was just kind of like vomiting information at them. I mean, he had to, but they're like, sure, okay, so we can go now. Because I'm not.
And this is like Yasuo comes back because she starts to feel bad and she starts to like second guess everything. She's like, maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe I should have like, got more information.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Just the whole situation, the whole vibe,
Yeah. It doesn't, because she based it all on like the feng shui of the apartment too. She was like, it doesn't really look like you would live in a place like that. And I was like, you don't know this man.
I know.
Damn,
you know nothing
girl.
About him.
You're gonna get killed. People get killed because of this stuff.
I'm gonna go back.
Like
serial killers.
He seems nice.
Serial killers.
And that was like sort of the initial introduction. Like this was kind of like everything that like sets up this big mystery. So what we know at this point is that like Kira looks like Josuke, but he might not be. But we don't know. And I'm just going to say that we don't even know if this Kira's universe is a killer by any means. We don't have anything to prove that. We don't have anything to prove that he's like...
He's a sussy guy, though.
He is sussy. Because he was like... Yeah. He was being weird with the guy on the beach.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he was. I think there's something.
This is when Yasuo decides to, because technically Josuke doesn't have anywhere to go, set him up with the Higashikata family. And we...
The Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch. We meet the dad, Norisuke, which and let me try to do this right.
Oh.
Because we had the whole Momonosuke thing. And Momonosuke, so maybe it's Norisuke. Fuck. I tried.
Momonosuke.
So how would you say the dad's name? Because it has the same suke, like Momonosuke.
Norisuke.
Momonosuke.
Norisuke.
Okay. Norisuke.
Higashikita.
I could say that.
Norisuke.
But that's because I heard it so many times in the anime.
It's not Norisuke.
It's not Norisuke. Say it again.
Norisuke.
Norisuke. That's where we meet him. And this man, first of all, what do you think about this man's hair?
Interesting.
Very interesting. He is Steel Ball Run. Like his hair, he's got Gyro's balls in his hair.
Yeah, for real. They all kind of have balls.
Yeah. But he looked, he's a cool looking dude, I liked him and he seemed nice at first.
Yeah, he was coming on a little hot. He was
really?
he was just like, as long as you don't make any, like, he just kept repeating, like, as long as you don't do that, we're good, bro. And it was
but I mean in the car. This is like just in the car.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like when he was walking around the house and shit.
Because remember that moment in the car when he was like giving him this test and he was like, okay, pick
the
this thing or that
Yankee thing? Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, you like furry, cuddly things or whatever. And he's like, I even noticed that you took your shoes off. And he goes, I'm one of those guys too. And he like has his shoes off in the car.
Okay, cool.
So he seemed like just kind of like a goofball until they get to the house.
Well, yeah, then he's like dad mode.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, alpha mode.
Yes.
Like, we'll be fun as long as you don't, like, that. You go to someone's house, you go to your friend's house, and there's that dad, and he's like cool, but like if you fuck up like one time, like your ass is grass, like type of situation. Like, we're gonna be just fine, buddy.
Yeah. Long as you don't touch my remote, drink my beer,
or fuck my daughter.
Or fuck my daughter too. I don't know why I jumped to wife. Yeah. Fuck my daughter, sorry. That would make more sense.
We'll be just fine.
We'll be just fine, pal.
It's a big.
Yeah, it's a big swing.
The big clap.
Yeah.
That's him.
That's 100% him.
And then he doesn't. He doesn't do that at all.
But
he fucks his he almost fucks his daughter.
Well, yeah, Josuke was being manipulated though. He was being manipulated.
I mean, he wasn't being manipulated. I guess.
And by the way, he gets the name Josuke because Yasuo's dog was named Josuke. And she's like, you give me the same vibe that my dog.
Have the same you have the same face as my dog. Like,
yeah, you have dog energy. And
no, face. Your face is the same as my dog. He's like, thank you, I guess.
And then like Josuke gives him kind of ribs him for it later. He's like, you're lucky his name wasn't like, Sparky or whatever, because then you'd be called Sparky.
Okay, bro.
And it's like, good one, dude.
Good one, bro. You're so fucking funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fuck your sister.
I always found it so funny too. Like, why? Like that whole situation. Like, she's like the youngest daughter.
Right.
It's like there's a 24-year-old woman in the house. You know,
a model too.
a model. I mean, maybe she's like, no, you're not. I'm not even gonna look at you.
Like, she thinks too highly of herself.
Yeah, I mean, he is like 19.
And he's fine too. Josuke, bro, that gap shit. Fire.
I mean, like he's like closer in age with her than he is with.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The model.
Right. Come on, dude. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, this is all the youngsters reading this shit. You know what I'm saying? Even though I always think that's such a
they're getting a lot of ideas from Araki.
Yeah, because this series isn't like, especially Steel Ball Run and JoJolion. Like,
not kiddie.
This is not kid shit.
No.
This is not kid shit.
No. Like if my mom found out I was reading this at this age,
I mean,
I couldn't even watch Family Guy.
I couldn't watch South Park, and not because
South Park is probably worse than Family Guy, I would think.
Oh, probably. Yeah. No, actually, yes.
100%.
Yeah. And not because of the gore or the sexual stuff, which is already reason enough, but because of some of the concepts too. I mean, bro, as a 30-something-year-old man, not going to get specific, in Steel Ball Run, I was like, what the fuck, dude? What the hell is going on? Because it was so complex. What the fuck? At a certain point, I really was, like with the freaking the golden curtain or whatever. Anyway, so we meet the whole family, the whole gang. We meet, we've already met Joe, so we meet his sister, that's the model. We also meet, and this is what I thought was a cool little homage too. Obviously, we've met the dad.
Daya.
We meet Daya, and we meet Tsurugi, I think, right?
Tsurugi?
That was the baby.
Yeah.
Because the baby looked a little older when we see them again later. And I don't know if time had just passed, or I don't know what was going on there.
That's true.
Yeah. Looked a lot older.
Yeah, because Tsurugi is like almost 10 years old, right? That's when the curse.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the same baby.
But
she might have two babies.
But it said eldest child of Jobin or whatever, and I think I don't know. It's just, it might be a Valentine fat buff thing, chubby buff. When we first meet him and he's chubby, and then we see him again and he's ripped. Might be like that. But what I thought was really cool about meeting Tsurugi, I assume, for the first time, is I think it might have been just a little homage to part 4 with the invisible baby. With the sunglasses.
I think that's the only reason why.
Just to pay that off.
Yeah, that's it. You need to look a little younger, because it's just going to look like a toddler with glasses. It's not going to look the same.
Yeah, and they're not going to get it. So I need to make it a baby. But we also find out that Tsurugi ain't, and we don't find this out till later, but ain't a little girl, but a little boy. Trying to dodge that curse.
Trying to dodge that curse.
So yeah, we meet all of them, and the dad lays down the rules. Mr. Higashikata. That's going to be easier for me to say.
Mr. Higashikata.
He lays down the rules.
Papi Higashikata.
Tells him all he has to do is watch after Daya, and we'll be good. Gives him that pat on the back. Oh, and also, don't go anywhere near my office.
My study.
It's off limits. And we also meet a maid, too. It's going to be very important.
Yeah, random.
And I have a theory about this maid.
Okay.
Can I just say it right now?
Sure.
I have a theory that, like, maybe, because we're going to see a family tree soon.
That's like his sister?
I don't know if that's his sister, because she said she's Kira's sister.
Yes.
But she's not on the family tree. If you like, I have the family tree pulled up here, and if you look, it just says that Holly and her husband had Kira, and there's no record of them having this other girl. Not I'm not saying that doesn't mean that she's not her child. I'm just saying, like, for whatever reason, maybe she's not, her name is not recorded there.
Maybe a different dad?
Maybe, possibly. Interesting. But I don't know. Am I going a little too crazy when I think that because she is the daughter of Holly and she's got that hat on, she might be like this universe's, Jotaro doesn't exist in this universe. But that hat is not.
Not at all.
It's not a cop hat.
No, yeah.
Jotaro doesn't wear a cop hat.
No.
But the way she was wearing the hat, I don't know. Sometimes you got to say crazy stuff. You just have to. Anyway, yeah. So we meet her too. She's going to be semi-important later, and I'm sure more important going forward. But anyway, Daya has bad vision, and Josuke has to look after her.
Yes.
And it's revealed that she also has a stand too, and her stand ability is to take specific memories away from people. And Josuke doesn't have a lot, so she's
California king bed.
California king bed. She's taking, what little he's got. So at first, it's pretty low stakes, right? She takes the memory, and it's because like her condition is like if you're like not playing fair, like if you're lying about something and you get caught in that lie, something along those lines, she first takes away something like harmless. Like she takes away, I forgot what the first thing she took away was, but it was like this information about. It was information about something. It was the symbol. She took away the symbol.
Yes, the mark.
Yeah, because the same symbol that's on the staircase is the same symbol that Yoshikage Kira had on him. Which I think at this point they've already gone back to the site where they found Josuke and realized that Yoshikage Kira's body was there.
Yes.
And that's something we forgot too. His body is there, and his body, he does look a lot like Josuke, but he's dead. This man is freaking dead. KO. Cardiac arrest. Nothing crazy. So now we found Kira. DNA test said he's Yoshikage Kira.
And he's missing balls.
And Yasuo didn't believe. She didn't believe in the cops to do their job, so she took it upon herself to get her own DNA test, and the results came back that the corpse, Yoshikage Kira, and Josuke's DNA, they're the same person.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. This is not a twin situation. This is a clone situation, an alternate reality.
Yeah, that's what
situation.
I thought. I was like, it's a clone, I guess.
Interesting.
But it's not. We know that now.
Right.
You're like, interesting. That could.
No. But I mean, yeah, sometimes you gotta just say crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So Daya takes away the symbol first, then she takes away the memory of Yasuo, and then she takes away the memory of Josuke's stand.
Yes.
And this is, I mean, as it went on and on, it got like progressively worse to the point where when his stand didn't get taken away, his memory of the fact that he has a stand got taken away, so he can't use it. And the only way, her conditions were kind of weird.
Yeah, you have to like stand in her shadow. Yeah, and that's how. But she has like, obviously she can't see, but her like she could hear really well, and she could like feel movement on the ground, so she kind of knows where you're at all times.
Right.
And yeah, and this man was struggling too. I mean, he was like, I'm fighting for my life, but I'm also fighting to not,
to hold on to the few memories I have.
No, I was talking about like being with this girl.
Yeah, she was coming on to him, and then he
was
kind of
like, damn.
Well, when he doesn't remember anybody else, he's like, I guess. Fuck. Let's fuck.
And the dad's like, he's fucking my daughter.
Yeah, dude.
And he doesn't do anything to stop it.
But see, this is where it gets extra sus because, yeah, he doesn't do anything to stop it.
He just goes, motherfucker, that's one thing I fucking like, God damn it.
And he says something to the effect of like, it doesn't matter. I'll let him think he won this time. But as long as like he's under my house, he's never getting his memories back. Yeah. And I was like, sick, dude. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say too.
Yeah, that's what.
When someone's fucking my daughter, that's what I'm gonna say. I'll let you get away with it this time. Like, what are you gonna do? But you sneaky brat, you rapscallion. And then you hear a voice like, "Is that your dad over there?" He's like in the crack of the door.
Yeah, that's it.
You son of a bitch. I hope you like breathing. Because you're going to keep on doing it. Because nothing's going to happen. Because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop you. It's funny.
But then he ends up being kind of not, like, he ends up being kind of like a cool guy later. He ends up being sort of an ally later.
Yeah.
Who knows? We don't know yet.
We don't know anything. But yeah, he wins.
He's able to defeat her by like, before he loses his memory, sneaking a phone into a refrigerator, using the refrigerator light when the door is open to cast a shadow that she steps in. getting all of his memories back. And now Daimo, Daya, sorry. Daya is basically like his, not like, it's like, she's like his puppy.
She's like his like groupie.
Groupie.
You know, she's just like a fan of his.
Right.
And he's like, please, you know, just keep it between us. Let's go check out the study. And she's like, okay. Like, she's just like down with it now.
She's like super down. She's like, you beat me.
Yeah, you beat me.
Yeah. That's hot. I'm with you.
Sick.
Yeah. So they go up to the study, and this is where things get real fucking interesting. It's already been great, but here's where it gets taken to another freaking level. They find out that the crest, the symbol, is the symbol on a book that is the Steel Ball Run records, or sort of the chronicles, the story of the journey. And we find out, this is where it's like officially stated that the Steel Ball Run happened in this universe, and that Johnny married the Higashikata's daughter, who was on the boat at the end of Steel Ball Run.
And they got a little crazy.
I mean,
they got a little crazy with them strawberries.
Shit, dude.
Let
them do what they do.
I was like, damn, Johnny.
I mean, I think strawberries are more, I mean, I associate them more with like sexual things than than nutrients anyway. You know, because you always see those chocolate covered strawberry. You know,
that's
dipping a strawberry. You know,
that's insane. I never
nipple or something.
Stop.
I'm just saying, chocolates, strawberries. These are sexual sort of aphrodisiac snacks, as I call them.
Never heard of that.
I mean, it's just like I associate it because all that softcore porn. Just kidding. Anyway, but yeah, to see Johnny again, and we're about to find out. Are you okay? You good? You good? You okay? To see Johnny again after Steel Ball Run was so awesome, and I didn't expect to see it, and I didn't expect to get to see like all of this stuff that he had been up to, this like whole ass life that
is a horrible fate, horrible end. Poor Johnny. After all that, the ability to walk again, to ride a horse, he couldn't save John, and then he gets fucked in the end. That's fucked.
It's super fucked.
I feel so bad for him, and what a horrible thing to do to Johnny.
But in his backstory, when we do get it, they do. Araki makes a point to say that they lived for many years and they had like a happy life. Like his kid, when everything happened, his kid was probably the same age, and that's probably also something or a reason why that like all firstborns of this exact age get this sickness, because his son was that age, so 10 probably, right? When the sickness was transferred to him. So at least, you figure they at least had maybe like 12 years together. Happy years.
That's nothing.
It's a lowercase W, but he found love, and he saved his wife, and he saved his son from death. That's beautiful. And he was just saying like, I'm so lucky I got to meet you. I'm so lucky. I mean, it was fucking like sad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's sad. Sad ending for Johnny.
R.I.P. Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after all that, after everything that happened.
Yeah.
In the race for his life.
I mean, people didn't live that long in those days anyway. You know what I mean? So 12 years, you can figure out. I don't know how old he was in the Steel Ball Run race. So he only probably had, if he didn't die that day, he probably only had 5-6 years left in him for before he died of natural causes. This is the West. People get sick. Tuberculosis.
Dysentery.
Yeah, but it was sad. It was really sad. they find the book and they find out that it was chronicled by, and we find out that Higashikata's also owned. They've gotten their money because their ancestor was able to, the Higashikata we saw in Steel Ball Run was able to use the money that he won by coming in second place.
Second place, yeah.
To open up like a fruit shop or to import fruits. And Johnny was like helping him like import fruits from America.
Yeah.
Although that was like also kind of like potentially a cover up as to why like Johnny was like doing what he was doing at the time.
Very melon.
Very melon. But in this book is also, they have some sussy symbols. One for the Higashikata like family, and then one for the like fruit business. And there's a family tree. And this is so awesome because we find out that the Higashikitas, because Johnny married Rina, the Higashikitas and their family tree descends, and so half of their family tree are Joestars, and the other half are Higashikitas. So it breaks, and usually in a family tree, you only follow the son who carries on the name. But for whatever reason, in this family tree, it follows both, and it goes all the way down. We see that Jonathan exists in this universe. Not Johnny, I mean Joseph, sorry.
Yes,
Joseph exists in this universe, and Joseph gives birth to Holly, but Holly does not give birth to Jotaro. So,
damn.
Yikes. Sorry, buddy.
Well, yeah, Jotaro's dad was just like not in the picture.
At all.
No, he was.
Yeah. So that's interesting too. I wonder if, this is just a universe, because maybe for Iraqi.
Maybe.
And I don't know, I'm like just fucking throwing shit at the wall, but maybe Iraqi's like, look, Jotaro, he fucking won. Like the OG like parts. Like
he was in like all of them.
Yeah.
He was in more than half.
And he was like the star. And like he's like, everybody loved him. I included him in everything because everybody loved him. I think there was a story that's why he was even included in part 4. It wasn't like Iraqi's like original plan, but his editor was like, Jotaro's so popular. Like the editors.
Is it? Part 3
is when he gets
part
introduced.
4.
Yeah.
Stone Ocean.
Yeah.
He's in 3 parts out of 9.
But and he's in Golden Wind a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not a lot in Golden
No,
Wind.
but he's in it. Like he is in the character list.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So I think Iraqi's like, Jotaro had his time. Okay, we're going to tell a different story in a different universe now, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, because it might not be the same Jotaro,
Right. So this is all super interesting. This is what they find, and I have so many questions. Kira is Holly's daughter. So then we find out that Holly exists in this universe, and she's the mother of Kira.
What the
fuck? So now,
what the heck?
Josuke has to relay that information to Yasuho. They end up tracking her down, finding out at first, they discover she's a doctor, but then they discover that she's actually at a hospital, not because she's a doctor, but because she's a patient.
Yes.
So they try to go after her. And Josuke has a hard time getting there because he's
being chased by Ghost Rider.
By Ghost Rider, but it's like ice instead of fire.
Yeah.
Frost Rider.
Yeah. And I thought they were going to go down the classic Morio street.
The alley?
Yeah.
Me too.
But it wasn't that. Yeah, it was just the guy with the motorcycle.
And did we ever find out? Oh, that was the daughter. That was like, that was the maid. I was like, did we ever find out who that was? It was the maid.
Yeah.
It's just because that reveal was so crazy. So yeah, it's kind of fun when you find out that during this whole like chase, because at first you think Josuke is getting like bad directions from his GPS, which is funny because it ends up being that the GPS is giving him directions to avoid this stand.
Yeah, and I thought that it was Holly's stand. But it wasn't Holly's stand. It was Yasuo's.
Right?
Yeah. But she was saying directions.
Paisley Park, I believe.
She was saying directions. She was like, remember?
Yeah, but I think it was the GPS voice.
Yeah.
That classic GPS voice.
Yeah. Turn right.
Yeah. Make a U-turn. And then it started saying please at a certain point.
Please.
That's pretty funny, yeah. So yeah, this was all kind of
This was a crazy one. This was
It
like,
was fun.
yeah, it was fun. This was like the second stand battle, yeah, that we've gotten.
I think like
Oh no,
big
third.
Oh yeah, third
one.
one. Yeah. And he finds out that it's only able to pursue him if he opens something, and that could be
and
anything.
the kid,
Poor
poor kid. He's like, I'll give you a gummy. I don't have one. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
He's so like quirky. He has these quirks. I like how where he sleeps. He sleeps in between the mattresses because he likes to be buried. He likes that because he was buried for how long we don't know. But
that's a good point too.
Yeah.
That's a really good point too. Like, that's a really good point because maybe he was already down there.
Maybe he's already dead.
Like maybe he's from a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe he is. And then Kira got buried there, and then they merged.
And then that's when they merged. See? Let her cook, dude. Big brain shit over here. Big brain. And
that's why there's no like record of him.
Exactly. Anywhere. And that's why nobody's looking for him. Because all of his ancestors are dead.
No family.
We figured it out. We cracked it. Like, that's it. That has to be it. Duh. I mean, it's JoJo. It could literally be something.
Yeah, but that's why he's wearing like a whole sailor outfit,
Yeah.
He's a sailor.
Like, what if we find out that he's like, I don't know. Never mind. But so he's not able to make it to the hospital, but Yasuo was able to make it there.
Yes.
And she sees Holly, and Holly is dressed like Hot Pants, by the way.
Yeah.
Holly Hot Pants over here. And Holly is missing. She also is like, first of all, her introduction was so funny.
She's eccentric.
She's very eccentric. She's missing parts of her brain. She's missing parts of her whole body. Like they're just gone. And the doctors are like, there's no incisions, there's no scars, there's no history of surgery. Like there's something happened to you, Holly. Like, please tell us what happened. And she doesn't know what happened. And she associates people with like objects. Like she thinks one nurse is like a shoe or like a boot. And when she first meets Yasuo, she's like measuring her up and she speaks exactly like Josuke, which Josuke speaks in like measurements. And she like, she thinks that Holly's his girl from this like porno magazine that she was reading, and she's like, "Yeah, I was reading it because I was bored." But yeah, you have her same measurements.
Like, that's you.
That's
like,
you.
It's not me.
She's like, "Are your parents cool with what you do?" It's so funny. But all she tells Yasuo is investigate the family tree, like find out more about the family tree.
Yeah.
And this is where we see Yasuo stand for the first time. And she's not aware of the fact that she has a stand yet. But Holly kind of gives us a explanation. And I think there's something at the beginning of the chapter shortly after. And her stand is pretty vague to me at this point.
Yeah.
It's become more clear in the fight with Jobin, but it's essentially something that unconsciously guides her to wherever she needs to go.
Yeah, and it gives her like options.
Seems kind of convenient.
It gives her kind of things, choices.
Right.
Remember like the flashlight?
Right. Right. And it hasn't been used in a way that, because it does seem super convenient. Like this character is just going to have a stand that tells them exactly where they need to go. But it hasn't really been used that way yet. So I don't mind it. And I like the way it looks. It looks pretty crazy.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So yeah, this is, I mean, Holly at this point too, like gets like her like bite is like bothering her, so she gets like taken into the hospital. There's this like whole thing that was going on, and while that's happening, Josuke finds out that the maid was the one who was chasing him, and she was chasing him because she thought he was working with the Higashikitas, but she reveals herself to be Holly's daughter, Yoshikage Kira's brother. So maybe not Holly's daughter, or she says Holly's daughter. Because when you said like different mom, different dad, whatever, it made me think that maybe there was some of that going on.
Kira's sister.
What did I say?
Brother.
Oh, yeah. And so this is like curiouser and curiouser, dude. So she like kind of like tells him, but then it's just so weird. Okay, so she tells him, because he would look exactly like her brother. So she tells him to like stick out his tongue and like to like get close to her face, right?
Yeah.
And this is where we see up close for the first time that Josuke is a fusion, it looks like, of two people. His eyes are split down the middle and his tongue is split down the middle. And that's presumably also an explanation for the gap in his teeth, which I still think is really, really cool. And she explains to him. So Josuke's like, if going to Holly is going to like upset you, I'm not going to go to Holly. So she goes and explains to him that the grounds where the walleyes are have this really strange property that the Higashikitas are aware of. And so she buries, it's called the tangerine and the lemon, this chapter. And she buries a tangerine and a lemon and then digs them back up. And they have, both of them are combinations of each other. So the lemon is now lemon and tangerine, and the tangerine is now tangerine and lemon. So that would mean that when he got buried with Kira, the Kira body that they found is also half of whoever he was too. But we still don't know. So now she says definitively, you are 100% half Kira. 100%. But the other half of you, I don't know. She's also, because that's Kira's sister. So she also says, I know that you're half him because your stand is similar too. The stands of these two people fused as well. Mm-hmm. He had the bubbles and you have the bubbles, but they do something different. So the stands have fused as well too. That's where we see him and Killer Queen, the Killer Queen that we recognize and know to look like the one from part 4. And then what else did she say? She doesn't know who the other part of him is. And I think that's pretty much all the information that we get about that.
Yes.
But it's all just fuck, man. I really am leaning towards he was buried there for a while.
Yeah, maybe because Kira's body was pretty fresh.
Right.
Maybe these just bones down there.
Right. Yeah. And then because and something about where they found him or around the area of where they found him at. I know it's wild, but we see the corpse. I don't know where Johnny put the corpse. They made it seem like did he put it back in the vault or did he put it under in that cave, under that tree?
Or he put it in the tree.
I thought so too.
So maybe he's the corpse.
Well, maybe he's half freaking Jesus
half
and half Kira. That would be crazy. What the fuck? I'm pretty sure. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I think that's all the information that we get. And Josuke's obviously really upset about this because he's like, who am I? These are my thoughts. I'm my own person. How can I be two people? He's sort of questioning his identity in this moment.
Yeah, he's really shook.
Yeah.
He's very emotional.
Then, I think this is around the time that this happens. Him and Josu go on their own little adventure.
Yeah, because he said that he wants to go to school.
Yeah.
He wants to go to school. He wants to be like all the other kids. And yeah, they have to embark and go to school. And the only way to go to school is through this street.
This particular
street. And honestly, if you're going through that street every time you got to go to school, I'm not fucking going to school.
Hell no.
I'm sorry.
Hell no.
It's too much.
What is it called again? Come Up Street or some shit like that? It's not called Come Up Street, but it's called Scavenger's Road or you know what I mean? Something like that. Oh, earbud down. But yeah, so they go down the street and Joseph's playing with him and toying with him, saying that he got his money taken there. And this is the kind of eerie shit that I really like. This is what they do a lot in some of the Spoke Rohan Kishibe stories. Is there's these weird sort of occurrences that happen and cause the people around these areas to act very strange.
Yeah.
So the first incident is a mom's baby's toy is broken and she blames Josu or Josu and
they're like, we didn't do anything, and she's like, no, but you did though, I saw it. And everyone's like, yeah, we saw it. And they're like, okay, I guess I did. And they're kind of second guessing themselves. And then it happens again with another situation with the fish tank. Yep. And there's just things that are happening that they're like, wait, we didn't do anything about it, but they have to pay up every time at a
crazy amount of money.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, what the fuck? And they finally realize that it has something to do with the leaves on the ground.
Yeah, because Josu was recording it.
Yeah.
And then he saw that he was like, whoop, whoop. Someone got dragged back fast by the leaves and then put right back. But then he's like withholding that information from Josuke. Then there's like a drug deal that goes down.
Yeah, and then we finally get to see Joshu has a stand ability too.
Yes,
it's like a screw situation.
And his he's got a funny name, Nut King Call.
Not sure what that's a reference to.
Nat King Cole.
Oh yeah. I was thinking that, but I was like, it's too far off. Nat King Cole.
Yeah, it's like just off
Nat
enough.
King Cole.
Yeah,
that's funny. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is the first time that he's like, this is the first time he realizes he has a stand.
No, yeah, first time. Which is like, I mean, if everyone, I get, again, we like kind of realize that the family doesn't really talk about their stand abilities, and they don't really know that they have them, but they do. It's really
And what
odd.
does the dad compare it to? He compares it to like, would you talk about like,
oh, something weird.
Yeah.
Oh, their asshole. Would you show your asshole? Would you show your asshole to your family members? Like, whoa, so extreme.
Yeah, those are two different things.
What the fuck? Yeah, you go just freaking bending over and showing your bare asshole to your family members. Like, that is so.
It's like
not
someone
the
asking
same
you,
thing.
like, hey, how old are you? And it's like, whoa, I don't share my age with people. That's like bending over and showing me your asshole right now. Like, relax, dude. It's your age. You know, like you're being dramatic.
Yeah, it was very dramatic. But they end up getting out, and this was when I was like, this was probably the weirdest one. This was the one I was like, I have what is going on? So many switches and so many. It was very confusing at first, but I did enjoy it. I did like their little adventure together, and I was starting to like him. And then he's done. I was like, this is kind of funny. Yeah. He's kind of a brat. He's kind of an asshole. But there's like a contentious rivalry going on.
He ain't no freaking Okoyasu, I'll tell you that.
No.
Not even close.
Not even close. He's not even, what's it called?
Oh, yeah. He's not a Koichi. He's not a Rohan. He's not.
What's the other guy? Shingeki?
Oh, yeah. I think that was his name. The guy who had Harvest or whatever his stand was.
The guy that was stealing the money, or owing the money or whatever. No. Yeah.
He ain't even that.
Yeah, not even that.
But yeah, so yeah, he finds out he has a stand ability. They get to the bottom of it, and they find out that he's like, it's not a stand. It's a, and there's a term for it, I forget, but it's a stand that just like kind of naturally exists. And it's under the leaves, and it's these like sort of, I don't know, these yellow, like they have
ginkgo leaves. They're called they're from the tree, a ginkgo tree.
Right, but they have these like little, like they look like these like water bugs that kind of float on water, except they're like floating underneath.
Little like June bugs.
Yeah,
they're the little June bugs. You know, little June bugs, the orange ones.
I don't know that I know those kind of June bugs.
What kind of June bugs? You know,
the big ones, the big ass ones.
Yeah, see, I don't know where. That's like a southern thing. June bugs here in California are little small orange guys.
Oh. Well, I mean, but they have these like, anyway, doesn't matter. Point is, these are the things that are under the leaves, and it's really wacky. Like this is probably the wackiest. Like when the drug deal goes, it's just really wacky.
Yeah. They're like, hey, go give that envelope to the girl with the big tits, I was like, bro, what?
Yeah.
And both of them were like down bad. I was like, you guys need to chill out. You guys need to relax, tone it down. Did they ever make it to school? Like, I don't think they ever did.
No, they didn't. Never went.
And then Joshua had like fake memories of going to school, and he's like, "Bro, we never went." Like,
well, I don't remember him having fake memories, but I think they were covering up for the fact that like
they didn't go.
They didn't go because he
lost
the money that the dad gave them for like transportation or whatever. Like,
because
for school.
They had to pay. Yeah.
So. Anyway, this was like you said, it was fun. It was wacky. It wasn't like my favorite, but it was a good time. Like I did enjoy this stand battle, this like crazy incident, this street. These chunk of chapters were really fun. Yeah. But this old man, the fish tank man, like Josuke ends up at this like shrine, and the same old man who was like trying to extort him for all of this money. Because Josuke was able to pay him back with the money for the drug deal, whatever. He ends up giving him information and telling him the story of this, the statue that resides at this shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wearing a hat very similar to Josuke.
Another same hat,
which for a second, how we were speculating that it could have been the corpse part.
Mm-hmm.
I was speculating that, like, what if this is somehow Johnny? Like, half Johnny, half... But then I thought, with the green lipstick, where was Gyro buried? What if it's half Gyro, half
Gyro was
Kira?
buried in his home.
Oh, that's right. Johnny took his body back.
Yeah, to his home place.
Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
But the Devil's Paw moves. That was a side note. So this is where this old man tells him this legend of Johnny Joestar, this American who came to Japan because he fell in love with this girl Rina, and that's where we find out, like, Johnny's horrible backstory. His wife Rina got sick with some disease. They say she had origami lines.
Yeah, origami, and she was like hard as stone.
Which I think the origami might have a tie to Tsurugi, potentially, possibly, maybe not, because Tsurugi uses origami. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems too, it's like too close.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Johnny doesn't know what to do. And then Johnny remembers that the fucking corpse is locked up somewhere. He can go get the corpse. I'm going to go
pick it up.
You thought Lucy was the one who was going to do something. Johnny's the one who does something. Like,
Johnny's like, I deserve this.
I mean, if anybody does this, I mean, he had it. He had it.
He had it. He had it originally.
Yeah, come on now. And he does. I mean, it's kind of wild that he uses it, but I understand. He's a grieving husband. His wife has a terminal disease that there's no cure for. So, he wants to use it this one time for this one thing, and that's it. And I do believe that, that's what he wanted to do. So the disease leaves his wife, and then his wife comes to and is like, "Where's George at?" or whatever. And then you cut to the inside of the character.
George.
Like,
origami.
I'm origami.
I'm origami now. Mom.
I'm origami. And then Johnny's like, no. And all jokes aside,
Johnny's like, no, my son's origami.
Bro, jokes aside, that broke my fucking heart. When I saw that, I was like, fucking Johnny, dude.
Equivalent exchange.
The good fortune or bad fortune, the bad fortune gets like redirected somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It broke my heart. So Johnny does this thing, and I don't completely understand every single thing that happened, because there's something with those ginkgo leaves that kind of seem to have happened that night too. So Johnny, takes his son, and he takes the corpse, and he goes down this road where the statue is at, which is also similarly, I think, the tree that he's under, we find out later, was twin pines. Yes. One of those pines has moved and is like at the Higashikata residence. But he ends up using the corpse to redirect the disease to himself, and then like uses his rotation, his nails, to kind of unalive himself and sacrifice himself for his son. And I don't even know if like the disease necessarily moved to him. I think it did. Or if he just sacrificed himself. It was that equivalent exchange thing. So I think that set the precedent for this curse that was passed through generations. Why was it passed down on the Higashikata side, not the Joestar side? Who knows? But this is also such a cool tie-in to like when Holly got sick in part 3 too. I don't know. It's just it's all really cool.
Yeah.
So now, well, actually, while he was passing out, there was still like something was happening by his hand, and he touched, like he was surrounded by ginkgo leaves, and he touched them. And that's when this old man who's telling the story of Josuke says that was the night that this shit all started happening. So that's the part. I don't really know what Johnny did or what exactly happened. And the corpse part, I think, or the corpse was buried under that tree. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, it could have been put back.
I thought it was too.
And then it could have been put back, and then Johnny just used the equivalent exchange there. But I think that's what started everything. And Johnny died. And was he buried there too?
I don't know. I think so. I forgot.
Curiouser and fucking curiouser, dude.
He might be Johnny.
Okay, I was thinking he might be half Johnny, but then like Johnny twice. But it's not technically Johnny. It's like this new person. But because he's half Kira, half Johnny. But like, really? Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, so that kind of like wraps all that up. And that, I think, brings us into we're getting closer to the end, but it's or the end of these chapters. I think that brings us into the Tsurugi stuff.
Yeah, with Yashio and licking her elbow. It's like really,
Right.
there's like really just sprinkled in just like very odd things that Araki's like, let me just draw this because it's funny. Like it had no real significance to the plot at all, but she's just like staking out at the Higashikata house, and she's like, I did it! Like I finally did. I licked my elbow, and I was like, is that just like to show how like badass? And
I don't know.
No, because it's just like actually impossible.
It was her stand ability.
It's impossible.
I think someone like contortionists have to be able to do it.
Or long tongue.
Or yeah, either way.
Just odd.
It's odd.
But
it's a touch.
yeah, and
it's
then
a
she
touch
gets
sexual.
Yeah, and yeah, it gets crazy. So yeah, she gets like kidnapped, but it ends up being a kid.
Yes.
And I was like, how was that a kid doing all that weird shit, licking the freaking ears and shit?
Because the way they play it, because she's investigating by the tree, then she falls and she finds this hatch. There's this like
Alice in
underground
Wonderland
bunker.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was getting like Alice in Wonderland, but then it's just someone like groping her, but then it ends up just being in a bunker. I was like, what is this?
And the way that they were playing it at first, or that Araki was playing it at first, because there's like this little person, and they have a tattoo, and the tattoo says life. So I'm thinking, oh, this is like an orphan situation where this is like a grown like man who's just a little person who's pretending to be a kid.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's actually a kid, but it's not a girl. It's a boy. And the Higashis just dressed their firstborn, and since he is Jobin's firstborn, he's going to get this disease. So they dress him up as a girl to kind of trick the curse.
Which it hasn't worked before. You know, it hasn't. It's
worked.
Never worked. So why would you even try?
Why not?
It's never. I can see if it worked one time, but what's the point then?
I mean, if at that point you're just trying anything. Like maybe this time it'll work. Maybe this time.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, and it only affects the men. They say that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does not affect the girls at all, which is interesting because not to get too off track, but I do have a panel right here, and I'm not going to be able to pull it up. But you see right here, where is it? So Johnny and Rena, right, had a kid, right, George.
Yeah.
And I think right here, this little box that doesn't have a name in it, that says FM. I think that stands for female, right? So they had a daughter too, and maybe the daughter wasn't recorded because. I don't know, because the disease, like it didn't matter. But then Holly is recorded. So why is Holly recorded in this other? And then you see right here, George and Elizabeth had 3 kids. They had Joseph and a female and a male. But since Joseph was the firstborn,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so it's just the firstborns that they're showing here. So Holly was the firstborn then of Joseph and the only child. Okay, so that's why the others aren't listed. Okay, so then Kira is the firstborn, and then that's maybe why his sister, the maid, isn't listed. Okay, sorry. So I don't know. It's just like little things that I'm trying to pay attention to, all these little things, because I think it's going to all come back and make sense. But yeah, she gets kidnapped, and she's sort of like doing digging on the Higashikitas and all of that, because they know more than they're leading on. And this is another really bizarre, no pun intended, fight or stand altercation.
Yeah, Paper Moon King.
Paper Moon King.
Yeah, and it's like it's yeah, when you're touched by the origami, shapes and objects cannot be recognized. Also, like as time goes on, words and designs, the same thing too. So it is pretty formidable.
That's the crazy shit.
Yeah. So she's kind of like, it's like a hallucination. Like she's kind of going through like psychosis almost, like, because she doesn't know which way is, like, she went to a building thinking it was another building, and even the surroundings look like different, but it could have been the building. Very odd. Very odd.
We've also got it sprinkled throughout the story that like Yasuo has like a weird family life, and her mom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just such an interesting choice. Like her mom's an alcoholic. She finds her passed out once, but then she's also like a gamer too. Like she's like an alcoholic gamer, because like she comes like Yasuo comes home and she's like, "You want to game with me?" And she's like, not now, Mom. Like, I'm doing stuff. And she has like a beer and like there's like a PlayStation controller right there.
I just think she's like, it just maybe like childish.
Right.
Like childish, like she's the adult in the relationship between the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny.
It was just like such an interesting choice.
gamer.
Yeah, like an alcoholic gamer. But yeah, so she starts seeing everybody's face the same, that name of that place the same. This is where you kind of lost all respect for Josu.
He went way too hot, way too fast. Insanity.
Yeah.
Like, she just said...
She can't recognize faces. So she thought, because Josuke, when the whole like thing on the Ginkgo leaf street happened, like Josuke got Josu's phone. And so he was trying to contact Yasuo from the phone, but Yasuo blocked his number. So then he had to send an email. So then Josu got his phone back and then she thought it was Josuke, and because she couldn't tell faces apart, is like being chummy with him. And he takes that as like, oh, she's into me.
She wants to fuck, yeah.
She wants to fuck. So like they go into like a bathroom and he gets like pretty aggressive and it's pretty dark.
And she's like, oh, fuck, no.
Yeah.
Actually, bye.
Yeah.
He was like, what the fuck?
That was fucking wild.
I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, why are we doing, what is happening right now? Yeah. Jesus.
I mean, it was scary. I mean, it
really was.
It was very scary.
That's why I'm like, jeez, this fucking guy is so insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, this it just kind of unravels, and like Tsurugi is kind of like on the sidelines waiting for her to say that she needs help, and then she eventually does, and they go back to the bunker.
Right. And so the effects are starting to affect Josuke, but since the stand goes out of range and its target was Yasuo, then it stops affecting Josuke.
Yes.
So then Josuke is like, okay, so he ends up like piecing it together because he knew saw Tsurugi there, and then somehow ends up there too. This is where it gets kind of crazy. And this is probably the most, because like where it ends is like the whole stag beetle Jobin thing, which is interesting. But this to me is like the most interesting thing.
Rockman.
Because long story short.
Yeah, long story. I mean, this gets played out. This is like probably the longest stand battle yet.
Yes.
With this guy who was an architect for the house, who ended up not being who he said he was.
Yotsuyu Yagiyama.
He took someone else's name that was already dead, and he likes cherry Coke.
Right.
And he's a rock, and he fed this dog some fruit, and it's a rock dog, and it looks like a prehistoric. I don't fucking know. This dog will haunt my dreams. Scariest dog I've ever seen.
Prehistoric. It
looks prehistoric
like a
dog. It looks like a hyena mixed with like a chupacabra. Like, I don't know what this is. But that he's been walking around recently. He's been walking around the premises, and they keep seeing him. And yeah,
I think, and this is just a crazy theory, I think that this guy, Yotsuyu Yagiyama, the architect, Rockman, I think he's either like, he's definitely like a different species. He is. I think he's from an alternate reality, or he's from the future somehow, because I think that this disease that they keep trying to like evade or like run from, I think at a certain point down the road, maybe in the future, they're able to not die from it.
But the fruit is like random. The fruit's like not even a real fruit yet.
Right, yet. But it kind of is though, because we see Jobin kind of handing off the tree to him, or vice versa. But I think it was Jobin went somewhere.
No.
Yeah, because they tapped Jobin, because they tapped in the security footage.
Yeah. Of the car.
Yes. Right? So it's like, I think this guy, I don't know. Because he had, there was no record of him anywhere. Like, nobody knows who he is. And the way he talks to, I forget.
No, he stole someone else's identity.
Exactly. So there's no record of who he actually is. Or they don't know who he actually is. And I don't know, like something about the way he was talking. Like he was, and he has this
He's not human.
He's not human. Or he is a human from somewhere else.
I don't think he's human at all. I mean, Araku's making that very clear.
Right.
Like, that, is this even a human? Is this what humans can't do this? Like, he made it very clear, like, okay, this guy is definitely not a human. Like, he is something else. He's a rock guy, rock human. Yeah, he pretty much is.
But he has a rivalry with Josuke. Like, him and Josuke, like,
Yeah, there's a reason why he wants to kill him, but we don't know why.
Right.
We don't know why.
But so Josuke ends up thinking that now he knows something, or he used to know something about the cure, because this dog came down with the same disease that the eldest sons of the Higashikata family get, and then the architect cured it with this fruit, and Tsurugi saw that and is sort of like, that's what the architect used to like leverage or to convince Tsurugi to like trap Josuke. So this whole like Yasuho thing was a trick to trap him, and he promised Tsurugi that he would give him the fruit to heal him if he like did all this stuff.
Yeah, if he sacrificed Josuke for like equivalent exchange or whatever. Right.
So this is when the dad gets involved, and the dad, the Mr. Higashikata, he gets sort of like, he becomes sort of again like an ally.
Yeah, they're like fighting like with each other, like against the rock guy, and we find out his stand, King Nothing. Puzzle, tracker, another tracker.
Yeah.
That's going to be very important, I guess. There's 2 trackers on the team. And yeah, he could smell. He can see smells. So it's pretty much anything he smells, he can like make a shape and like replay events almost.
Yeah, it's very
kind of similar to what's his name in part? What is it?
5 Golden
5, yeah.
But it's also yeah.
I mean, not the same at all, but
right.
But yeah, they're fighting, with this fucking rock guy, and there's like it was a crazy ass fight. He's going through the rocks, they're trying to get him, he's throwing pesticides and shit. His gravitational pull.
Well, yeah, because what it is like if he touches you, he can choose an object that is just like attracted to you. And it pulls itself into you and goes straight to your core, whatever it is.
So the pesticides were going into like his body.
Yeah. And at first it was like rock, and then after that it was like not pine cones, but it was like these
chestnuts. Yeah, the spikies.
Right. And
spiky balls.
Josuke was able to take the moisture out of those so they disintegrate. And if they get out of range, and they're not affected by it, but they keep getting touched because he keeps sneaking up on them somehow, some way. And it's because he's actually rock. So then they think, like,
he's like going to the ground.
Yeah, they think like, what the fuck? He has 2 stand abilities. And that's when like, I don't even know, like, I guess they just have to put this together, like eliminate whatever else, and then what remains has to be the truth. They're like, it's not 2 stand abilities, and they don't even go to they don't even go to he's working with somebody.
No,
they go to it's his innate ability. He has
his innate ability. It's is it even a living thing?
Right.
Was it human at all? And they just keep going back and forth, and then eventually he gets to sink his ass.
And that kind of reminded me of the Weka Pipo fight. The other guy, whoever the other guy was, who had like the ultimate defense.
Yeah.
And then ended up at the bottom of a river. Or something
he trapped him pretty much, and sunk his ass.
So they end up working together, and as they're working together, we start to find out more about Mr. Higashikata's like past, and that how he came down with the disease when he was 10 years old.
Which makes sense.
But they say that the firstborn has been able to survive for generations because they figured something out. And what they figured out is that they could just pass it on to somebody.
Sacrifice. But they don't tell that to the kids. They say, we figured it out. We got a cure. Don't worry about it.
So one of the parents, presumably the parents, would have to sacrifice himself. And he's saying that he'll have to do that at some point, or might have to do that at some point. But his mother is the one who sacrificed herself for him. And we're getting to see young him and some of his backstory, his trauma, and it just sort of happens that he becomes like kind of someone working with Josuke. Because at first you're like thinking this guy wants Josuke dead. This guy doesn't want Josuke to get his memories back. But then he kind of like, because he's doing all of this to protect Tsurugi, I guess, and so that's why they kind of start to work together.
Yeah,
there's something there I might have missed, but anyway, yeah. So when Josuke takes him down, and they find out this whole rock thing, when they're under the water, this fruit sort of like falls out of his pocket
somehow.
Yeah, and it's a weird looking fruit like nothing we've ever seen before, and so Josuke pieces together that this is probably the thing that cures the disease, but he's not able to like get it. It like floats away. Which I can buy. I'll buy that. But the wild thing is that Yasuo was involved too, taken captive at a certain point and is rescued. And so they clean the pesticides out of her and they put her to bed. And this girl just happens to have freaking half of one of the fruits on her.
She had it. She had it left over.
But she didn't eat it. Like,
no, she was just hungry.
She just had it. I guess.
She was just hungry. She wanted a snack.
I guess.
It's all.
Yeah.
Has to.
So this man is dead now, and
his dick broke off.
His dick broke off, and then Mr. Higashikata like goes into this whole thing about like, can we go find it?
Yeah, can we go get his dick? And he's like, what is happening right now?
What are you talking about?
And then that's when we find out that the Rock is like a race of people. Like, it's not a human race. It is like a race of people. Not a stand ability.
But
yeah, and I was like, what?
But what?
And then the Rock dog, yeah.
But then he goes and says that he's gonna like run the pieces of his body that they have like through like some sort of tests and sort of get some sort of analysis on it. And the Rock dog stays and joins the gang.
He's cool.
It comes through a wall. Like,
it comes through a wall. And yeah, this part was funny too. They're like, get it, capture it. Josuke's like, capture the dog.
Yeah.
And then Tsurugi's just like, he's actually being really cute and docile right now. He's like actually like really cute. And he's like,
I thought he was gonna eat the rest of the fruit.
Yeah, no, they just thought he was gonna be hard to catch, but he's like, just chill. And then he's like, oh, what happened to Yasuo? He's like, where is she? She got taken again. And they're like, oh, we just sent her home because she should be at her own house.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this was so crazy, dude. Like, so crazy. And Mr. Higashikata like uses the leftover fruit that they have because he doesn't want Tsurugi to eat it because they don't know anything about it yet.
Tsurugi's like
Tsurugi's desperate,
like a toddler, like like he's like no, like freaking like fending him off. Yeah, and he's like no, like stop.
And he's trying to tell him like, I'm a firstborn, your dad's a firstborn, like you're gonna be cool, dude. And he's like, nah.
Yeah, like throwing a fit for this fruit.
So he uses King Nothing, right? On it, and they're able to see the branch and all this and all that. Then they go to Mr. Higashikata's like fruit parlor.
Oh, and there's a whole. I mean, the parfait looked delicious.
It looked bomb, and I love that a lot.
He was explaining how he made the glass himself. How there's a very scientific way, everything to bring people in. He created the town, the flow of the trap. There's a flow. There's a flow to things.
Valentine had the napkin, and Mr. Higashikata has the flow
and the parfait. And that shit looked good. I want one.
It looked bomb.
Right now. Yeah, it looked fresh. It looked very melon.
Yeah.
And then Josuke gleeked out of his gap.
Oh God.
And then
but it's because they went there to kind of run through the fruit database to see if they knew
fruit database. Yeah.
I mean, really.
It was just a tour of the fruit.
Yeah, he was bragging the whole time. It's like, we're supposed to be here to find out about this fucking fruit, dude. Yeah, and you're just getting a little too like you're too excited.
He was explaining the whole company, and he's like, "Do we use these fruit? Nothing gets wasted." I'm like, "What is this, a tour?"
Yeah,
it was just so funny. But then we get to finally meet the man, the myth, the legend,
Jobin.
Yes,
and the whole time Jobin has been a mystery. So I couldn't help but think, and this is a Rocky being, I think, really good at sort of like keeping this mystery going. Is the whole time because his identity wasn't revealed, I assumed that Jobin was going to be someone we recognized. I assumed that Jobin, even if he wasn't the same version of somebody, I thought he was going to be like, I don't know, he was just going to look like somebody else we already knew. But when we do meet Jobin, he is not somebody that we have seen before.
Not at all.
But
he's a freak.
He's a swaggy guy. He's got a little swag.
I don't think he's swaggy.
I like Jobin's swag.
We get to see like what he's actually about. And
no. And then he freaking apparently beats his kid, dude. That shit was also crazy.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
This is later. This is like when Tsurugi's like, Josuke's like, tell me about your dad. And Tsurugi's like, well, he definitely doesn't beat me.
Yeah, no, he definitely doesn't hit me in the face every night. Don't think about that. He definitely doesn't. And it's like, if you keep saying he doesn't, then I'm going to think
he brought it up like
does.
3 times.
No.
He's like, no.
My dad's a good guy. He doesn't hit me.
He's good.
He doesn't hit me at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit me once.
He's never, not once in his life, hit me.
He's a good guy.
Josuke's like, I wasn't asking you that.
I never said that. I never brought that up to the table.
Yeah.
No, something's up with his dad. He's...
And Jobin's fucking weird too. When Jobin shows
really odd.
Josuke, like you said, gleeks on his shoe. And he uses a little handkerchief to wipe it up, and then they kind of reconnect, and he keeps quoting this guy, and that's his thing. And he's
the like actor. It's like a movie or something.
And he's a rich kid too, who has a golden Lamborghini.
They're all rich.
They're all rich. But this guy he's flaunting it. And he talks about how he got this like super rare beetle that cost him so much money, and he just gives it to Josuke. when he finds out that like Josuke's a member of the family now. And you know, they go back to the house. They have this like reunion. Him and his dad have this reunion, and then they go back to the house. But as they're going back, and the dad doesn't notice this, Jobin doesn't notice this, but because Mr. Higashikata like memorized the smell, his stand is automatic. So his stand, King Nothing puts together that the scent of the fruit that they need is on Jobin's handkerchief.
So he's like, "What? Your dad?" And then he goes to consult Tsurugi, like,
right. That's when he goes. Yeah.
Yeah, a child. Like, what's up with your dad though? Like, tell me a little bit about your dad. Tell me about your dad's stand. He's like, I don't know anything.
His stand is.
He's very scared of his dad.
He's very scared, like really scared.
Yeah,
of his dad.
like really scared. You could tell. And he's like, okay. And he's then like Tsurugi like literally tells him like how to beat him and how they're gonna find out.
Yeah, he's like kind of that was shocking.
Yeah, like plots against him, and he's like, you have to, fight. He thinks every day is summer. You have to fight the stag beetle. I'm like, what the fuck?
This was, I whatever I said about the ginkgo leaf street, whatever, and the drug deal. Whatever I said about the origami, like this is probably the fucking wild. I mean, it was like Animal Planet. It was the National Geographic. It was just like.
I mean, towards the end, it was just a beetle fight. I mean, it was just a beetle fight, except for the pheromones that were added to the brush.
Yeah,
and
it was a very genuine beetle fight.
Yeah. Going back and forth, pretty crazy. Like he's wild. And
we do know now what his stand ability is, I mean, to a degree. But this is to your point, Mehgan, about what you said you liked about this part is that the stand, because they don't even know, the stand battles are so tactical that they don't even, the users don't even know they're having a stand battle until the battle's over. And then they're like, was that a stand battle? Like that's what happens this whole fight. But Tsurugi's plan is to like meet up with Yasuo and reveal to Yasuo that she has a stand and what that stand does and that they need her stand because they're going to take Jobin's key, his Lamborghini key, which has like a microchip that like keeps track of like where he's been.
The locations.
They're going to hack into that with her stand and find out where he's been so they can narrow down the location of this fruit and this tree, which is why the whole reason Tsurugi's like willing to throw his dad under the bus at all or give any information on his dad at all because this is his life.
Yes.
So they like pretty, their plan seems to be kind of going off without a hitch. Like there's Josuo's there or whatever his name is, Josu is there. And, there's a funny dynamic. Like you could tell that like Jobin like he like ribs him like an older brother, but like finds him annoying and like really is really dismissive of him. And he gives his whole family like awful souvenirs. Like they're all rich.
You can just tell that, he knows really nothing about his family. Like that was what it was. Like when you're like a family member gives you something from a trip and you're like, you have no idea who I am.
Right.
And they're just like, you like that, right? And you're like, I've never once said ever. Or just like he doesn't care enough.
Or
I'm gonna get if you
like
are
he
gonna
got
like
it in the
harp,
airport or whatever.
Yeah, if you're gonna heart me about getting you something, like I'll give you whatever.
They were
get.
they were last minute souvenirs.
Yeah, they were ass though.
Because she's like, this one says freaking blue turtle and the turtle's red, and she's like, I don't even know what that means. Like it was they were all bad.
Yeah, he's like, I got an ashtray. He's like, I don't even smoke. I'm 16 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
But,
it was kind
and
of
Joshua,
funny.
you could tell, like, I mean, like he's just
Josu.
Joshu's like his number one fan. That's his brother. He loves his brother.
He looks up to him.
Thinks he's like the shit. So that back and forth, he's like, you're gonna be his ally for the whole fight.
You're gonna root for Josuke.
He's like, God damn it, okay, and he just goes back and forth. But
so Tsurugi gives him a whole lesson on stag beetles and pheromones and how to beat him, right?
Yeah, and what to say and how to
play it off,
poke the bear.
And you just find out that this man just like this is what he does. He loves fighting beetles. He has a whole collection of them, and that's the one thing that's gonna really set him off. So they like make a bet, and the first bet is to shave like an eyebrow, and Josuke wins. And he wins because he puts the pheromones in the bubbles and then pops the bubbles. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But then there's a second fight, and
he puts wax in a beetle, and I was like, that is really like animal cruelty.
Because he says the beetle's gonna die.
Oh yeah, no, for sure it'll die in 20 minutes.
But it'll last 49 seconds or however long
the time of intelligence.
The time of intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this time the Lambo's on the line.
The Lambo's on the line, and he's I think he just likes gambling. I think this guy just likes gambling.
He's just a fucking child.
He's like, here, take the fucking keys to my Lambo.
Yeah.
Take them.
And Josuke Josuke wins the Lambo.
He does.
But then gets called back in. So he like...
Because he's pissed. He's like, we're playing again. He's like,
Yeah.
I already won though. He's like, but we're playing like kid. Like we're playing again though until I win.
Until I win. But
Yeah.
he's able to sneak the key out. And I think that this is... I mean, for being a Beetle fight, like a just genuine Beetle fight, like it kind of was interesting. I caught myself at a certain point realizing like, damn, dude, I'm reading a manga right now that's very like detailed and informative. It's like teaching me about stag beetles and Hercules beetles and like how they mate and like how they fight and like I don't know. It was just like they turn on their belly and then, like it was very informative.
They won't forget what winning feels like, and they'll want to fight more, and they'll get a taste for fighting. And I'm like, what?
And they're like super gluing the fuck, this is embarrassing because they're not called like talons or claws. They have a very specific. Remember, he gets like
prong?
ribs.
No. What is it? Should I look it up?
Don't look it up. It's not.
Are
it's not
you
that
sure?
important. Grabbers, whatever the fuck.
Grabbers.
But yeah, they're gluing them back on, gluing legs back on with super glue.
Yeah.
It's kind of like enthralled. I was
enthralled.
Shocked
I was
at
like,
how
what is
enthralled
this?
I was.
What is this? This is wild. It must have been something Iraqi did as a kid.
Yeah, or just
with
like
his
like
curious
friends.
about.
Or
because that's like
probably more likely.
Bug catching is
like a very
really
child.
No, and it's rare. It's really popular in like Japan. Like in the summer,
in Virginia too.
I've never caught. Yeah, I didn't live in Virginia, but you caught like big old beetles.
Yeah, we used to catch big bugs. We used to catch like jars of fireflies, all that. Like, and then
big bugs.
Big bugs, yeah. We used to catch big bugs. We used to, you see people like tie strings to like big June bugs. We also had locusts out there too, like big ass locusts.
Yeah, scary.
And people would catch those, tie little strings to them.
We didn't have no Hercules beetles.
They wouldn't fight them. I never saw anybody fight their bugs.
Stag beetles. Yeah, that's what they do.
That's crazy.
Stag beetles, they get them off the tree.
But it does feel like a game that like kids would play.
Oh yeah, for sure. In the little like pit.
Yeah,
and everything. Yeah.
But I just felt like I was surprised at how much I cared and how invested I was in this fight between stag beetles. It was the most random.
Because there was a lot on the line.
I mean, there really was.
To get the key, to get to them. And then we find out too that Jobin does have a stand.
Yeah.
That he's, I don't think, aware of. I think
he is.
I was thinking that he was, but then I was like, I don't know. The thing that made me think that he maybe believe that he is aware of it was the tissue.
Well, because he asked himself in his own internal monologue, like, was that a stand battle? Like, yeah. Or maybe that was Josuke. I don't remember, but I thought it was Jobin. But his stand is named, where is Jobin's name here? Speed King.
Speed King.
And it has the ability, from what I remember, it's something about temperature.
Yeah, heat.
Is it specifically heat?
I think it is specifically heat. Because that's why he was able to, the wax.
To melt the wax, which caused, bro, this shit is fucking, he basically gave that stag beetle like a lobotomy and then put wax in the hole. And then melting the wax caused something to the nervous system of the beetle and like caused it to like fucking twitch and like do crazy. It was like, this is like horrible shit. It's I know it's crazy because it's like bugs and maybe people are like, oh, it's like not that crazy because it's a bug.
I mean, he says that, yeah, it's someone has done this or tried to do this in real life.
But yeah, this shit is fucking crazy. Like this is like some psychotic serial killer psychopath fucking like I don't like narcissist. So I don't have a fucking conscious shit.
That was a lot of words.
Yeah. So yeah, Jobin is starting to get wise to what Josuke's up to.
What's happening? What he's throwing down.
And Tsurugi and Yasuho, like they were successful in tracking it to a degree. And that's where they see the security footage. And that's when they see Jobin passing the plant over to the architect. So they know that he knows something, but there's no record of him going to a location for this plant. He is just driving around in circles. And the transaction happens at a stoplight. And it's probably
it's like a drug deal.
Right. They don't even think he would have the forethought to like do that because only someone who knows they're being tracked would have the forethought to do that. And
yeah. But I mean, just covering the tracks, I
Right.
guess. But
But maybe that's how important this is.
yeah.
Either way, that's all the information they have, and that's where we kind of end when Josuke's nose starts bleeding.
So take a tissue.
And Jobin like pressures
Take a
him to take a
tissue. You wanna
tissue.
take a tissue? You're bleeding. Take a tissue.
And his nose only started to bleed when he like wiped his face with something, or wiped his something that Jobin had touched or something.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Because
That's
the
why he
heat in his
touched the
blood
tissues.
vessels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was like, take a tissue. That's why he's like, I can't take a tissue because he touched him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be worse.
And this is where they're both realizing that they are both stand users, and Yasuo and Tsurugi have discovered the information they have found. And I think...
And Yasuo knows that she has a stand now.
Yes.
Like fully.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this chunk of chapters ends. Now, I know that was a lot.
It's a lot. And we're not even halfway through.
Not even halfway through.
That's why it's so crazy. I was like, as we were going through it, I was like, wow, a lot did happen.
Yep.
A lot did happen. But
I feel like this is moving faster to a degree, but I don't know. Steel Ball Run had a moment where it really started to get crazy.
I mean, I felt like I read this like
this did fly by.
Fly. Compared to other JoJo parts, I felt like it was just like boom, 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 boom. Like the chapters are longer, right?
Apparently they're longer.
But they don't feel like that.
They really don't. I don't know
Some
what
of them
it was
go
about.
fast. I was like, oh, it's already over?
I completely agree. I really enjoyed Steel Ball Run, but I think because of the race and like constantly like telling you what position everybody was in, showing you maps and everything like that, I think it just felt like it was a lot more maybe at times because it would kind of like cut away to like information on the racers and this and that. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I was like, are you telling me to speed it up?
No, I was just the producer was just asking me a question.
Oh, what was he asking about?
When we're wrapping it up. He's over there.
Oh yeah, he's mad. I could tell.
He was over here, and then he started walking away, and I was like, "Wait, you said you were going to ask me something."
And then he was like, and he pointed to his watch.
Yeah.
He was like,
his little wristwatch.
Yeah. So I really do want to give a couple closing thoughts, and then we can, thank our Patreon and YouTube members and wrap everything up. But I do think I feel the same that you feel. Like these chapters are going by. Like reading them is so much easier. I'm loving the mystery. I don't know what's happening. But it's not the kind of mystery that makes me think it's trying to be overly complicated so that I don't understand it and that it's not going to make sense, because it's JoJo. And to like have a mystery in a series that is known for being absurd, like that's the perfect series to have a mystery. This is the perfect time to do it, because in every other story, you have to operate by the rules of reality. But in JoJo, anything could happen.
Yeah.
And it oftentimes does, which is why it makes this so much fun. Because I can't guess.
No, it could be something insane. Like I would have never guessed that it was like the corpse of Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
It's like, I have no idea. I had no idea. What is that even? It's like I could have never guessed. So that's why it's so exciting, because it's like the possibilities are endless.
They really are. The characters are so fun. Being in Morio, it feels completely different, but something about it feels, close enough that it is just, it's that little bit of like nostalgia, that connection to Morio that is also making it like fun too. Like, oh, this is a new like alternate universe Morio.
Yeah.
This is cool. Like I said in the beginning, Steel Ball Run, we had never had a part in the West before. So like, it didn't have that same kind of feeling. This does. And it's like, who are we going to meet next? What are we going to see next? Like I said, Josuke steps over someone drawing Crazy Diamond, the Crazy Diamond from part 4. Like, I don't know. I just think all of these little Easter eggs, they could have meaning, or they could just be thrown in there for the reader. Either could be possible. I do think, because it's a mystery, I want to just playfully make some predictions. Like, what do you think? And ask you like what your thoughts are. Like, what do you think, if based on the information you have, what do you think is going on with Josuke? Who do you think the other half of him is?
I don't know. I have again, what we're saying, I mean, it could be anything. I have no idea. I think it's someone from the past. I think maybe it was like a body that was already buried there, but that's all I've got.
After you said it, during this episode, that clicked for me. So that's what I'm going with. I'm stealing yours, and I'm going with that because I don't also know who he is. I think it would be wild if he was Johnny. I think that would be really crazy because
it seems too on the nose.
Yeah, and it seems like that would take away from like him as his own protagonist, even though he is a combination of two people, which makes him a new person. Being half Johnny would, to me, maybe make it feel like. Just, I don't know. It would sort of like take away from who he is, his own sort of like being his own person. I would just associate him with Johnny. So,
but that's kind of who he is, though, right? I mean, he's not all Kira and he's not all Johnny. They're the combination of both, and he is his own person, regardless of the memories. Maybe he doesn't have any memories because he's just this new being.
And okay, so the Joestar in him is Kira. Kira is technically a Joestar because he's the firstborn son of Holly. And
Holly's a Joestar in this.
Holly is a Joestar. So we have to assume then that the Joestars are also getting this disease because they were saying that is probably why like Kira was investigating it in the first place.
Maybe the Joestars can. I don't know.
It just seems to me that like
I don't know. I am a lot of I can't.
It's okay. I mean, it's a lot.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, wait, yeah, it's too much.
Okay, this is the last thing. I'll end on this. Then I'll end on this. The Joestars have to be getting it too. The Higashikitas get it, and the Joestars get it. But maybe the Joestars, like, I don't know, it affects them differently somehow. I don't know. Not important. What is important is that he has the star on him, Josuke does, and that star comes from, I think, Kira. So the other half of him
isn't a Joestar. Okay.
Isn't a Joestar.
So then it wouldn't be Johnny. That wouldn't make any sense. He'd be double Joestar.
Exactly. And I think it would be absolutely insane, like too insane. He'd be too powerful. Like if it was the corpse part, like if he was Jesus Christ, that'd be insane. I'm trying to think if there's a clue in his stand ability to take something away. But because the bubbles.
But everything's different. Some people have the same stand, some people don't.
Right. Maybe the other half of him is actually a Higashikata from a long time ago, though. Like you said, like one of the. I don't know. But I do think I'm locking it in right now. I'm stealing your theory that it is somebody from the past. And going off of that, I'll say that, for some reason I get a feeling that this architect, he's not human, but there's something else about him too. He's from somewhere else. Is it because, does it have something to do with something that Valentine did as well as something? Because Valentine confirmed the existence of alternate realities. And something about the corpse part being activated, could that have like triggered something? I don't know, but I'm fucking loving this shit and I can't wait to find out. So far, this has been so incredibly fun. I've been so excited to talk to Mehgan about it. We've talked so much about it before we even started recording because of how just many questions both of us had.
Yeah.
This part is quickly rising through the ranks. Like you, I'm curious as to where it could go because we have so much story left. So we shall see, but I think that's going to do it for our discussion, right? On the first part of JoJolion. We still have 2 parts, 2 videos to go. So subscribe to the channel if you're watching this and you're not subscribed so you don't miss the second and third part. Plus, go back and watch all of our other JoJo videos as well, especially that Steel Ball Run finale. We worked really hard on them cosplays, and I think we look pretty good.
Yeah.
We are almost done, but we are not quite done yet. The only thing we have to do before we go is we have to shout out and thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing Patreon and YouTube members. So shout out to all of our Patreon and YouTube members. Without your support, this show would not be this show. We wouldn't be able to do all the things we do without your support. Your support means the absolute world to us and it helps us out so freaking much and means the absolute world to us. So thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube members. But a special thank you to our V1P or VIP members that we shout out by name during this portion of the episode. So without further ado, a special thank you to
Tyler the nerdy bassist, Roland V. Dub, Black Sun Series, Quattro,
Miguel, Pierce O'Connor, Wombo, Tyler Wallace, Manny, Paladin Berserker Jedi, David Ramirez, Rexy Dorado, Rokuma, and Goodman.
Yay!
Thank you all
So much.
from the bottom of our heart. Like we said, we can't do this without you. Your support means the world to us. So thank you to all of our Patreon and YouTube members, and a special thank you to our V1P members. Let's go.
Woo!
If you would like to become a Patreon member and help support the show, then you can do that by going to patreon.com/volume1pod or by clicking join somewhere next to the subscribe button on this video. You get early access, uncut reactions, and access to an exclusive Patreon and YouTube member podcast, Volume 1 Extra. All that is available at our lowest tier. So if you'd like to become a member and help support the show and show some love, patreon.com/volume1pod, or click join somewhere next to the subscribe button on this video to become a YouTube member. But if you're at a point and a place in your life where you cannot give financially, please do not feel bad, because there are so many other ways that you can show your support that mean absolutely just as much to us that you can do for absolutely free that Mehgan will tell you all about right now.
Yes, if you only have 2 sets of balls and not 4 to spare, all you have to do, it's absolutely free to support us, is comment below, like this video, share this video, subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. We also have social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and a beautiful Discord community if you want to join that to talk about anime and other things with people that are cool. And that's all free stuff you can do to support us.
All free, all helps out, all means so much, all linked in the description down below. That's going to do it for our JoJolion Part 1 discussion. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today, Mehgan, is... What are you saying? What were we saying in the beginning? Stacked?
Stacked or...
Side by side? It was something catchier than that, I thought.
Yeah, it was. Stacked or... I forgot what we said. Dang it! Stacked or side... I think it was side by side.
How do those balls hang?
How do your balls hang?
Oh, those balls. Are we asking people how their balls hang? How do your balls hang? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, how do those balls hang?
Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for any and all ways you show your support. And until next time,
how do those balls hang? Right up next, coming next episode on How Do Those Balls Hang?
We will finally find out how they hang. Are they side by side? Are they stacked? Can you fit a hand in between them? Can you fit them between 2 legs? Is it a wide stance? Is it big balls? Or one big? Is one small? Find out next week.